think it's really like changed my life in so many ways, and it's one of those things that I haven't quit yet. So, you know, like,
I don't think you should quit it. I think it's great, bro.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I can't really see or imagine a future where I do quit it.
Yeah.
Because I quit a lot of things because, like, I start something and I usually change my mind really fast and I pivot a lot, which is like usually good because it's not like a discipline problem, but it's more just like new ideas and things like that.
You just want to do more stuff. I get that because I told you when I was doing boxing, and now you're trying to do boxing too. Like, because I did that for about 2 years where I really dedicated a lot of time to it, and now I'm kind of pivoting to like bodybuilding and that sort of thing. So it's, you know, I do the same shit, like where I just change all the time. And yeah, like you said, it's not a lack of discipline. It's like you just want to try different stuff. So
yeah, I think you know for yourself you can discern the difference between like exploring and lack of discipline. Like they're very different.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I actually wanted to talk to you about this on here. So boxing, like, what's your thought process with that? Are you trying to do the club here or what?
Yeah.
And would you want to eventually have a fight?
So my reasoning behind joining was the end of last semester. I remember I was sitting with my friend at his house, and you know we were just talking about like ideas of things we wanted to do. And I think that I often get all these crazy ideas for things I want to do, but I always push them off because it's never the right time. And but just in that moment, like they all seem feasible and like attainable. Where it's like, shit, like I want to start making money next year. I want to start, you know, playing some sports on board at the gym. You know, I want to learn Muay Thai. I want to learn boxing. I want to learn rock climbing. I want to learn guitar. And it's like, all of a sudden I realized that you have access to a lot of things in this world, especially as a student here, and especially the position we're in. So it's like, for me, they're definitely the core things. Like, you know, school takes up a lot of my time. The gym takes a lot of my time. But in the hours that are beyond that, I think there's so much room to explore so many new areas.
Yeah.
And really, like, I don't know where boxing could take me. I don't know what I want out of it. I just want something new, a new change of pace. And
for sure.
I did miss wrestling. It's been a year and a half since I've done a fighting sport, besides like 1 or 2 practices I've done here and there in between that time period. So, you know, I was considering wrestling again. I was considering jiu-jitsu, but I did jiu-jitsu once. I want to do something a little bit different.
Right.
And boxing was, you know, good. It's intense, good change of pace. I feel like adding that twice a week could be really good for my mental state, you know.
For sure.
So really it's just up in the air, like where we'll go with it. Like, do I want to go in a fight? Maybe, you know, if I love it, probably. For now, it's just like one step at a time. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah, but for me, it's still one of the craziest things I've ever done. And like you say, it's good for your mental health. Like in some ways it is, but like I remember I would stress so much during like my school days when I'd have to go fight after class. It was so bad. Just like mentally.
It's because it's so intense and it's.
Yeah, man, and like, you know, you're thinking I'm gonna go get my ass beat, like after class. It's terrible. Like, I don't know. It's fun to do and you feel really accomplished after you do it. But, like, the anticipation is just killer, like, right before it, you know? Especially before my first fight, dude. Like, I remember we talked about that. We talked about that on the first podcast, right?
Yeah, a year ago today.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because that was 2 months after my first fight when we had our first podcast. So now it's 2 years, a year and 2 months. Yeah. So a year and 2 months ago. It's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I definitely want to get back into boxing at some point. It was fun. It's challenging. Like, bodybuilding for me isn't very hard. It's like, because it's something I really enjoy doing, so it doesn't really require discipline, you know. But boxing for me was really tough, like mentally, just to get myself to go to practices, to like actually put in the work, to do the cardio, because it's insanely difficult when you actually get in the ring. Like you will never be so tired, bro. Like, I'm sure you understand a little bit from wrestling, but like, I don't know, boxing I feel like is just a different game in terms of conditioning.
Yeah. I think your memory can sometimes like fool you, because I remember personally a few times, where I was really anxious during wrestling, but at a broader level, I almost look back at it as if it was like the most peaceful, like mentally, it was so good for me. But again, like you never know. Like I low-key forgot, it's been so long. Yeah. So I guess we'll see. Right now, it's like, sure, I know there will be some anxiety attached to it, but it's still in like somewhere in my mind. Like I see it as adding some kind of peace to my life, like doing something physical, like as an escape almost, to kind of just get myself out there. And I'm sure I'd probably feel great after practices, and you know what kind of energy it brings to my life. So, and I guess we'll see very soon what it's gonna be like. But
yeah, so like more broadly speaking, what are your like specific fitness goals right now? Because you know you're trying to pursue boxing. I know you've been doing a little bit more bodybuilding and gaining weight, and you said that you're gonna kind of put a pause on bulking. So like, what is that gonna look like going forward?
Yeah, I wouldn't really say I put a pause on bulking because I still try to eat in a surplus, but I just imagine as the semester goes on, it'll be less of a priority.
Okay.
I think that for me, fitness-wise, I think there's an immediate stuff where it's like feeling like I'm in the best shape right now, and obviously the small decisions that compound over time.
Yep.
Like, because for example, I can get away with eating unhealthy every now and then and still feel great right now.
Right.
But it's like those are probably not the best decisions long term.
You mean just due to being young?
Yeah, because like I can get away with like eating pancakes and syrup for breakfast if I go box later and do a lot of cardio. Like it's not going to impact me right now, but there are probably small ingredients that could impact me long term for other conditions. So it's like, I think health, you have to think in those two spheres. Like obviously being healthy right now and feeling great right now, but also as you know, like longevity. Yeah. And that you've mastered, you know, avoiding sugar. I
feel like I do a pretty good job with that, but for the most part, like I just don't really want to stress too much about it. I just want to have like a consistent set of foods that I eat every day and just know that they're good for me, you know, because like, I don't know, I think my whole philosophy this semester has just been taking the guesswork out of things and just like having everything systemized, just putting systems in place so I don't really have to make that many decisions. Like for example, I could show you my Google Calendar later. Like I have every minute pretty much planned out of my entire day, and I know some people might not focus very well like that, but it's like really good for me because I need to be told like what to do specifically at what time, like what subject I need to do, and so every day I do like a study block of like 4 or 5 hours maybe, and then I have planned out on there like, okay, what subject am I going to do during each time, and I feel like my brain works really well doing that, but I don't know about you. But anyways, my point was like just putting systems in place so you don't really have to make decisions. I think they call it like decision fatigue or something like that. Whereas if you're going throughout your day and trying to make a ton of different decisions, like it kind of tires you out and you become mentally foggy. And I know we talked about brain fog a little while ago too. We focused a lot on that, and I actually found a good remedy for it recently. So I wanted to talk to you about it on here because it's been a minute since we actually like talked about this stuff. But like I have been doing fasted cardio every single morning, first thing when I wake up. So I'll roll out of bed, and then 15 minutes later I'll be on the treadmill for 40 minutes. And this is not only just for my bodybuilding prep, because my coach is making me do it, right? But you know, mentally I feel really good. If I do it at night after I've already done all my other work, I'm like super fatigued. It's just like super arduous for me to do it the whole time. And if I do it in the morning, it just starts my day off right. Like I get a win immediately as I wake up. Same thing as like making your bed, you know? Like I like doing those two things, like making my bed and then also doing my fasted cardio in the morning, because it's like I already won 2 things in life, you know? And just stacking wins early in the morning is better than just like sitting there on social media and just like scrolling or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny because over the last few years, I've dabbled in so many different lifestyles, I think now. And I think our first podcast a year ago today, like we were very aligned on the systems and everything, because we talked about it a lot on the first podcast too. Like structure, I showed you my Google Calendar, every minute of the day planned, and you know, I was talking about this with Max Angel actually recently, because you know, I think a lot of guys like systems because it's probably something with how the male brain works.
Yeah,
like you just
brain,
need order and control, and it's good for a lot of people. Like I think it was good for me when I did it, but yeah, I think. Again, like every person is different, and I think after my experience, you know, I don't know how much we talked about this in detail, but the last 6 months I've had no systems in my life. Like I've taken like the full 180. Yeah. Again, because I can explain why, in my opinion, like why for my lifestyle I've kind of ditched almost every system I've ever had. Yeah. I basically replaced systems with attitudes. So, for example, the system is not take a cold shower every morning. But the attitude is like do hard things, you know. The system is not, you know, approach a new person in the gym every day. The attitude is naturally start conversations with people when I feel like it. You know, the system is not, you know, study for 2 hours every day. The attitude is more just like work as hard as you can. And you know, it doesn't work for everybody, right? But for me, I've seen more progress this way for me, because I think maybe progress is the same, but I feel like I have progress and fulfillment now, which I don't think I had that at the same level before. And again, like every person's different. I know a lot of people are very happy, fulfilled with systems, right? Which probably you as well. But I think what I noticed, my issue with systems is that I'm a big overthinker, and it's like, 1 minute here, 1 minute there would ruin my day. And it's like I tried to really work on that, but it's like, and the thing is, I think systems work, at least for me personally, when I'm in a current state of my life, like this system works for this current state. But since we're growing so rapidly, that system like no longer works like a month from now, at least for me, where it's like I need to constantly revamp them. And I guess if you're able to do that, that's good. But it's like, I feel like there's never a rule for me where it's like if I follow this rule forever, it'll always be true, because like things are always changing. Your worldview is always changing. Your goals are always changing. So, literally for me, like, I used to be the guy that slept at the same time every day for a year straight, and now it's like, last night I slept at like 9:30, and tonight I might sleep at 1. It's so random now, and I think that as long as you have a positive attitude, positive attitude will lead to good decisions, and good decisions lead to good results. So I think they both can work. Obviously, if you naturally have a bad attitude, and naturally the decision you make is scroll on TikTok instead of go to the gym, then like maybe this isn't for you, right? But I think I've noticed for me that since I have such a positive attitude toward things, I've been able to get away with it almost. Like a lot of people probably wouldn't be. And I think people like you could probably get away with both, but maybe systems is probably better, in terms of like what you prefer. And
I mean, same with you. Like you're used to structure from before, and so I feel like that's kind of why you can get away with it now, is because you have that background of having some structure. And so like, say for example, someone's like 16 and they've never had structure before. And then like I'm thinking about my brother right now. Like he isn't really very structured in how he does anything, but like when he gets to college, it's going to be a lot different than when you and me did, because we think a lot more systematically versus like in a spontaneous manner, versus which I think a lot of younger people do for the most part nowadays, just due to whatever it may be, social media. I don't know, but I like to be a lot more strategic with what I do during my day. I find that when I don't have a goal or a plan, there's nothing that really gets done for the most part. So I actually wrote a quote that I liked in my like planning for my classes. So I wrote down all the different like lists of things that I need to do for each class throughout the week. This was in one of the first days of classes, just to like get my mind right and get organized. I wrote, failing to plan is planning to fail. I know it's cringe, but like it's a good one, and it really stuck out to me, because I was like, that's something I want to put like on my like task thing that I see every day, because like I think having a plan is pretty good for most people, and I respect that you are doing more of a spontaneous thing right now. But that being said, I think your background in being so structured and going to bed at the same time every night got you to where you are now, to where you don't like, that would ruin your day, and so you kind of are black or white with it a little bit, Would you say that's fair?
I think so. I think what the structure did for me was develop the positive attitude.
Yeah.
Right? And I think before that, I probably didn't have the positive attitude of like, attack life head on, work hard, achieve goals, like win at everything you do.
Yeah.
And I think because I didn't have that, I needed the structure to kind of instill it in me. But I think that it's so ingrained in me now that it's like I naturally like feel that hunger to win at everything. So it's like I'm gonna make the right decision at the right time and not lean into the weakness. So I do agree with that. I think it's kind of built that into me.
No, that's interesting, saying like win at everything. Like I like that, because I think about that too. And some things, I don't know, like school, I definitely have not done my best to win at recently, and that's the biggest change that I've made recently. Like I really want to be more competitive in school and just like instill that in myself. But like in the gym, I'm extremely competitive. In like the dating market, I'm extremely competitive, those sorts of things. But like, I don't know. I've never really had the mindset of like to win at everything. Like I care about certain things more than I care about other things. And I don't know, I feel like my priorities tend to shift. As of late, it's definitely been like school, bodybuilding, relationships that have been at the top of my priority, instead of maybe like, I don't know, like self-improvement is not nearly as high as it used to be. Like when I was a freshman, for example, I would read so many books, I would stay inside all day for the most part, and not really experience that much, and do more like theorizing than actually practicing anything. And so, I don't know. I think now I just have shifted my priorities a lot.
When you when you have these priorities, you want to do well in school, you want to do well in relationships, you want to do well in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
If it's not like the win at everything kind of, like, what is driving you to achieve those things? Like, is there a certain outcome in mind that fulfills you, that makes you want to pursue those things? Like, oh, if I do these things, I can get this outcome? Or is there some level of, like, I just want to win for the sake of it? Like, that's why I do bodybuilding.
Yeah, honestly, it's just kind of like the fun of the game in a way. Because in everything I think that I do benefits me in some way or another. I know if I do well in a bodybuilding show, I'm trying to go into physical therapy and personal training. So if I'm an accomplished bodybuilder, obviously that has benefits that will pay off later in my career, and I can say that I've done that because it's a pretty rare thing for people to do, because a lot of like personal trainers and physical therapists that you see are not in that great of shape themselves. Like, they may be very knowledgeable, but they don't like live it as much as other people may. And so that's what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm trying to embody my career before I'm actually in the career in a way. So like, I don't know, because if you go to a personal trainer or a physical therapist, you want to believe that they have the answers for you, and I want to look like I have the answers before that, just because that'll qualify me before other people. Say people are looking to see which personal trainer or which physical therapist they want to go to, and like one's fat and one's in really good shape. Most people want to look like the person who's in really good shape, right? So you kind of qualify yourself before you actually get into that career. And so I think that's what drives me for bodybuilding, at least. But with relationships, I don't know, I definitely want to talk about this a lot, because we haven't really talked about it too much recently. But for relationships, I think it stems from my childhood and my parents, because I haven't seen too many like good relationships in my life, and so I want to be one of the first really good relationships that I've seen. And because I did talk about how I did a lot of theorizing and like learning beforehand, and I'm just now like putting this into practice more so, because this relationship that I'm in now is definitely the closest one I've ever had by far. And I've learned a ton, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's been a very transformative like 4.5, 5 months of my life. So yeah, my goal with relationships is, like I said, just to be probably the best that I can be in terms of a partner, and just demonstrate to myself that I have what it takes to be a good partner, and to correct mistakes that either my parents have made or other people in my life that I've seen in terms of negative relationships. But for school, honestly, it's not really that I'm doing it so much for me. It's honestly more for other people, like my parents, and in a way it is for me, because my performance in school is going to determine where I can get in terms of grad school and then my career later on. So it is for me at the end of the day. But I think I'm definitely doing it a lot for my parents, because they are paying for most of my college, so which I'm very fortunate to have them do that. But yeah, I don't know, I've just never found myself being that passionate about school. And that's a great lesson that I've learned, though, too, is you have to do hard things, and that's not just like lift weights or go do, I don't know, a run or cold showers or be consistent with your eating. Because for me, that stuff's easy. Like, going to the gym every day, I enjoy it. Like, getting up and doing morning cardio, I love it. But I cannot stand sitting down for 4 hours and like just looking at a physics textbook. Like, that is pretty torturous to me. And so I do it anyways, though, because that's where the growth is. And it took me a long time to realize that, because I was like, okay, what does this have to do with my major? Like, for the intro classes at least, I was like, okay, this has nothing to do with my major. I'm never going to use this in day-to-day life. And while that may be completely true, it's irrelevant in the grand scheme of things, because you're learning how to do these hard things, same as someone who's new to the gym is learning how to push themselves in the gym. And I just had to reframe it in my mind to like really, I don't know, just have a better perspective on it, I think. Because like we said, just doing hard things in general, people usually think of like physical pursuits, but I think mental pursuits are equally as important, if not more important. I mean, they're pretty similar, but yeah, I don't know. I think for school, what drives me is just like to push myself to do something that's hard, and also to make my parents proud, I think.
Yeah. That's interesting, because I think that even if I looked at my pursuits, I could come up with probably a reason behind why I pursue them, just like you just did, where, all three of your main priorities in life have a very clear, avenue as to where it's getting you somewhere. Even if it's hard, so it's probably good for me to, a very specific outcome is becoming a physical trainer. right? And, you know, again, I have those things I can list, but despite that, I think that the desire to just win and be the best is stronger than any of those reasons. You know, like, sure, like, making money this year will give me a lot of things, a lot of outcomes, you know, like a lot more power and control over, like, things I want to do with my time. And
what do you think making more money will do for you?
You know, like, I mean, I'll be honest, like, my dad will give me a lot of money if I need it. It's not like I'm in a position where, like, I need to fund my own things, right? Like, my own housing is paid for, my school tuition is paid for, so it's not like I have a necessity for money right now. It's more just, you know, as I'm getting older, I've thought about what is the definition of an adult, you know, because it's like, I guess I'm objectively an adult. I'm 19 years old. You know, I live my own life, I build my own life, but in a weird way, like, despite, you know, hitting most of the check boxes of what it's supposed to be, what adult is supposed to be in terms of lifestyle, I still felt like a kid. So I started thinking, why do I feel like a kid? And I realized it's because, well, everything I have right now is because my parents are funding it.
Right.
And none of it's really my own. And, you know, not that they would do it, but they could take it away like that.
Yeah, it's true. But it's also somewhat normal at your age, you know, because everybody else here is in the same position. Like, that's kind of expected, especially in the U.S. now. Like, people don't really rely on themselves until they're like 25 nowadays.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it for the most part. Like, I'm not saying I need to fund my own tuition or my housing, but I feel like if there's a little thing I want, you know, like, my dad would probably buy it for me, but unless he disagrees with it actually being valuable, right? So if there's something that I think would be really valuable to my life, but he doesn't think it, then it's like, but then I can't get it, right? And it's not to say that's a bad thing, because if it was my money, I'd only want to spend, even if I'm giving it to my kids, like,
no, for sure.
I want them to spend it on things that I deem are valuable, right? So it's like, there's some things, like little things that don't even cost a lot of money, that I'd be like, I just want to buy it without having to beg for it. You know, it's just that small shift that only a little bit of money really unlocks that, right?
So like, you're not talking like a ton of money.
Just like something to just allow me a little bit more control, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
With how I want to use the money, and even if I, you know, randomly want to go on a small trip, you know, I don't want to ask my parents to finance that. I feel like, you know, if I'm asking my parents to finance that, it's a lot more limitations on, like, what I can do, where I can go, and subconsciously, they're not going to be, like, super, like, strict, but it's like, they'd feel a little bit more worried if they're like, you know, I want the freedom to kind of just do whatever I want, without the kind of, like, having to beg, having to ask, you know, for little things, I think.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, because I do sometimes feel bad, because I'm in the same situation where my parents pay for almost all of my stuff. I worked a lot in high school, so I made a decent amount, but I also spent a lot too, so I still do have my parents paying for a lot of stuff, and I'm going on spring break with my girl, so my mom's paying for that too, which is super nice. But, like, yeah, I mean, I do understand that to some extent, like, wanting to make your own money and just feel like you're more of an adult and more competent, things like that. But I don't know, another side of me is like, okay, that's kind of natural at our age, just like have your parents pay for stuff. And I'm not saying you have to be entitled to it, obviously you should be grateful for it. But, like, are you talking doing, like, a job? Or
so,
what?
That's where the question, right, is, like, how do you get money, right?
Yeah.
And I think, sure, all this stuff I said is, like, reasonable, like, feeling like in control, but then wasting 20 hours a week to do a meaningless job, then, like, that's 20 hours you could be spending a lot more productively.
Right,
so
for sure. That's
where your point comes in, where it's, like, it's okay at our age, you're growing, you're building other skill sets. If you have the money, use your time more wisely than just work. But, you know, I guess my goal wasn't just to get some normal job and work. Like, if I were to get a normal job, I would ideally try to get one where I can kind of finish my homework while I do it. You know, like a lot of these office jobs that they don't do anything. 100%. Like, I would probably, if I'm working a job, I'm not going to work at, like, M Dining and just waste time.
You don't want it to be, like, service related?
Yeah.
Cause,
I mean, I think working in the gym, there will be a little bit of, like, cleaning equipment and stuff, but I think a lot of it I can use that time productively.
Yeah.
So I'm just, like, seeing people swipe in, right?
For sure.
I'm planning to work at Hadley.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's cool, bro. At, like, the desk or something?
Yeah.
Like Rob does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's, like, one avenue if I literally have no other option. That's why I applied, just in case. But I'm working on some other stuff on the internet. I'm trying to make some money, and I've kind of mapped out this business idea I have that I believe can get my first client by the end of this month. And I don't want to reveal the numbers out in public, but I think I can do pretty well.
Yeah.
And the best part about this is it's scalable, you know? So it's like, it's not like $20 an hour. It's like maybe it's $20 an hour now, but maybe 2 months from now it's $200 an hour because of how scalable the idea is. So it's like, I'd want to avoid just like trading my time for a standard amount of money, like freelance work, even if it's online, like freelance computer science work. I want to ideally do something where either I can use that time productively, like at the gym, or I can scale it so that if it makes me $500 this month, it can make me $3,000 in 3 months. So that's. I can talk you through it. I'll probably talk about it off the podcast, but about what I'm thinking. But
I feel like we've talked a little bit about it at some point. I feel like you've shared with me like.
Well, I came up with the idea 2 days ago, so.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's a little bit different than what we've probably talked about before.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, because I feel like you've talked a little bit about just wanting to scale something if you did pursue it, but yeah, no, it's interesting, bro.
Yeah, so you were working as a PT for a bit, right?
Yeah.
And you quit.
Yeah, I quit after. I don't even know how long it was. I quit in like October maybe, but I did it all summer. So yeah, I just could not manage my time as well because the clients, they were super inconsistent. Like the time that I would work with them, they'd show up late, stuff like that. So I just could not do it, bro. It was like they'd cancel randomly and I'd have my whole day planned out to the point where like I'm like, okay, I'm meeting with this client from 5 to 6, and then they'd cancel, and then I just suddenly have this free hour, which you'd think is nice, but for me, I like to plan stuff out way ahead of time, and so it just made things more inconvenient. And so I definitely want to do my own personal training thing in the future, but hopefully that's after I get all my education and I have more qualification behind my name, so I can charge more and then people value their time more. Because realistically, like, if you don't charge as much for something, people aren't going to take it as seriously. If you're paying $10 an hour, I'm not saying that's how much this was, but if you're paying $10 an hour for personal training, you're going to take it a lot less seriously than if you're paying $500 an hour. So I'd like to go to more affluent areas and charge people more money to actually like get them legit results, and not only combine like physical endeavors, but like I want to focus on mental health, nutrition, training, stuff like that, because I think all of it ties together. And that was one of the main issues I also had with personal training, is you can't talk about nutrition with clients. And you're trained in nutrition, like they make you take an exam on nutrition, so they give you all the information, but you're not allowed to use it because you're not a practicing nutritionist. And I thought that was so dumb that you couldn't give them any advice. I always gave them advice anyways if they asked, because I was like, okay, I'm not gatekeeping for no reason.
Yeah, you're not going to get caught. Like, who cares?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to be, I don't know, I'm not going to be that weird where I'm like, oh, sorry, we can't talk about nutrition just because my job says not to.
Yeah.
It's like, I would always be like, yeah, if you're eating too much food, whatever you do in the gym probably is irrelevant. Like, you're not going to lose the weight that you need to lose, and then you can't blame me if you don't gain the results that you wanted to gain, because, you couldn't control what you put in your mouth. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, have you seen Trump's new, the 2026 new food regulations thing?
Dude, I haven't.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'd love you to fill me in, but before, I honestly have not been focusing that much on politics.
Me either. I just saw on the TV in Mojo, and I'd read about it.
I don't know. I just think politics, for the most part, and I've completely changed my mind about this. Like, I think politics, for the most part, are a complete waste of time. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I like being informed on it, and I like having discussions about it, but realistically, you're never really gonna change people's mind on politics. I don't know, especially like people our age. Like, a lot of people are so set in their ways in terms of what they think politically that it's nice to have conversations about stuff. It's nice to throw around ideas, but at the end of the day, I do think it's pretty much a waste of time and just like a cortisol spike, just like getting so enraged over like a Trump policy, or like, some liberal doing some nonsense. Like I just really think it's not that big of a deal, and people are intentionally, like, because the government has a reason to divide everyone, right? Like, we know this, that they're intentionally polarizing and divisive to farm engagement. It's the same thing as like social media, all that stuff. So I don't know, you just can't fall in the trap, in my opinion, is like, be informed, have your opinions, but at the end of the day, like, don't take it that seriously unless you're like an actual politician, I think, because it's like, it's just like a stress at the end of the day. Like, it's unnecessary stress. That's my current opinion of politics.
I feel like most of the people that I've met that I either respect the most, both guys and girls, are people who like are not on either side because they just don't give a fuck, right?
That's kind of where I am now, too.
I feel like you should just have enough going on in your life that you don't even have time to read about politics, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to find a conservative girl. You just need to find a girl who doesn't give a fuck that much, you know?
Yeah, or you just, like, vibe with and have similar things in common, or, like, you know, your worldviews and values are similar, you know? And, like, perhaps that may be a conservative girl more often than it is a liberal girl, but my girl's pretty liberal, you know? So, like, I don't know, and we get along great, you know, like, everything works great. Would I like her to be a little bit more conservative on some issues? Maybe, but it hasn't caused us any problems as of recently. So
yeah, I mean, there's, you know, it's a spectrum. Right? We can't put people in two categories. Like, how far deep are you on the spectrum? And some people, like, they might be quite liberal, but they still, it's not enough to, like, for them to get enraged about little things. And
yeah, for sure.
Like, me personally, I've never been big into politics. The first time I got into politics was the 2024 election.
Yep.
Then I started reading it a little bit, and I only started reading it to talk about on the podcast, and then at the end of last year I stopped, and I've not really followed up. And I was in the dining hall in Mojo, and I was looking at the TV, and they were, like, talking about Trump's, like, food policy, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've not, like, read about this in a while. So I searched it up, and it's pretty cool because, like, I think before there was a lot of you know, aspects of the federal guidelines for food that were not aligned with you know, what science has proven more recently about healthy diet.
Yep.
You know, with, especially as they were, you know, they used to demonize protein. It would talk,
and, like, carbs too.
Yeah.
And they demonize, like, everything.
Yeah.
Like, if you ate, like, they said, like, fat makes you fat just because it has the word fat in it, or, like, they'd say they're, like, the whole trend in the 2000s where, like, carbs are the devil and stuff like that. It's just, like, food trends in general are so stupid, but sorry. Anyways, continue.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because the thing is, and in addition to that, there was also, like, nothing bad about processed food, nothing bad about sugar, and that's, like, the whole core of what the new policy is. And on a side note, I don't know how much Trump actually follows this himself, but, you know, at least it's the federal
Probably
policy.
zero, honestly.
Whoever put it together, great work. But, you know, the whole idea of, like, the new policy is that whole foods are the only foods that are healthy. If a food is processed, then it is not healthy.
Yep.
If a food contains sugar or refined sugars, it's not healthy.
Yeah, I
which
feel
is like that's how it should be.
Yeah, I feel like the whole world is kind of shifting a little bit to that, because the gym is super popular now, like, among a lot of different age groups, just like fitness and health in general. And companies are starting to advertise things as, like, healthier alternatives, and, like, that's picking up traction among people. And I think it's headed in a good direction for the most part, hopefully.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, I read the other day, I don't know if we've talked about this before, but the average weight of an adult woman that I read is 177 pounds. And
we talked about this on the last podcast.
Did we? Yeah, and the average weight of an adult man is 200. And so, like that's insane, dude.
Yeah.
Like, they definitely need to make changes, and I'm glad that there's legislature being put in place that's going to change that, hopefully, because, like, the food in this country is terrible. For the quality of our nation in general, like, the food does not reflect that at all, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, you know, I don't know how much people's behaviors will change because of the government policy, but I know what will change is, like, what legal entities and schools are allowed to serve students. So I think that's going to be huge. You know, if they can actually change what they're serving at those, like, hot lunches and stuff at school, like, I think that could be a good first step, at least for the youth, you know, the next generation.
Like, I want to be able to send my kids to school and know that they're not going to be, like, poisoned by whatever they're eating.
Like burgers and pizza for lunch. Like.
Yeah, exactly. or like grape juice or whatever.
Dude, there would be days
like
I would have
sugar.
like, sorry to cut you off.
No,
there would be days where, like, 2 or 3 times a week I'd have French toast with syrup for lunch at my high school.
Yeah, man. No, it's just terrible. Like, and that's what they feed the youth on, and they wonder why, like, there's a health issue in the nation. You know, like, when it all stems from what you're feeding the youth, I think, because what you give them then, that becomes their habits as adults, right? They tend to crave those hyperpalatable foods, and then their habits aren't as good. So, I mean, I definitely think it starts from the youth, you know?
Yeah, definitely agree. I do want to go back to when you're talking about personal training and, you know, what your reaction to when you actually began working with clients. And, you know, that idea of, like, the amount you charge someone is, like, the type of customer you get has been something I've been thinking about so much recently as I've been working on my own business, because, you know, I was planning to price it kind of low, but, like, I decided to, like, drastically increase the price to the product to $1,000 a month, knowing that most people would say no, but it's like, the one or two people I want to say yes will say yes,
For
and
sure.
I'm like have a few clients and I'm making the money off of them.
Yeah.
And it's just so true that I think you notice this with like your own Instagram online business where you're working with that one person one-on-one from YouTube.
Yep.
Where it's like, a 1-star customer is going to be a 1-star customer, right? Like
Yeah.
you give them if you give someone a crazy discount, charge them $5 a month, you think they'd be happy, but all they do is like they criticize everything more.
Yeah, they're not appreciative. They just like take advantage of you and like take it for granted. 100%.
Yeah, I was the co-founder of like the small nonprofit in my high school, and we would offer local tutoring, raise money, donate that money. But we kept our whole mindset. We're young high school students, freshmen, sophomores. We don't know how any business economics works, so we just thought if we make it really, really cheap, parents will love it. So we made it like $9-12 an hour, and all our students would work. They would just volunteer for us. They would offer tutoring to these like middle school students, and despite keeping it so cheap, we wondered like why was it so hard to get people to sign up? And the reason was because if it's that cheap, parents are gonna think this is probably not that good.
Yeah, they think it's just shitty.
Yeah, and the second thing is we actually would have some parents that sign up, and there's this one parent I remember that unfortunately she was assigned to me, like that was my student.
Yeah.
And all she would do is ask for discounts. And already was $12 a month she'd ask for discounts. We'd give it to her.
Crazy.
She'd be like, "Oh, I'm signing up for the whole summer. Can we have the whole summer for $100?" And we'd be like, "Yeah, sure."
Damn.
And dude, she'd be like, "Okay, I want her to have. She has summer camp, so you have to meet her at 5 a.m. every day." Like it was so bad, dude.
Oh man.
And then she would still criticize us, and it was just bad.
Yeah. No, and then you agree to it, and then you have to do it.
Yeah, and I was a little simp back then, 12-year-old simp.
Nah, but you live and you learn. Like that stuff is. It's a lesson learned at the end of the day.
Yeah, but I'm sure now. I mean, you can't just charge high and expect people to sign up either, which is why you're building the qualifications, right? And I think,
sure.
out of anyone I've ever known, I think you're the most qualified because as we talked about in the third podcast, you're not just a guy who goes to the gym. You've competed in bodybuilding, you've competed in boxing.
Right.
You're building up. You've dabbled in powerlifting, and you're building all these skill sets, and you're expanding your worldview. And even when someone looks at you, you don't have to like flex your resume, they can just feel that,
Right, 100%.
And that's when you can't charge the premium price.
Yeah,
and
that's
when
what
you
I'm
can't
going
find
for.
those clients.
Because you can't buy a physique, you can't buy like presence with that. So, you can buy a lot of things, but that's one thing that's earned among everyone. Like that's something that everyone has in common is you have to earn how you look, for the most part at least. And so that's something I really take to heart is like, okay, you can be born, whatever, into money, like your family has a lot of money, you can be born super tall, you can be born whatever, but I think you just gotta focus as much as you can on the things that you can actually focus on, and that has gotten me the most amount of success in my life. Like I wouldn't be where I am now if I didn't focus so much on the things that were in my control, and I definitely stress a lot about the things that are out of my control as well, but I make sure that I optimize everything that is within my control at the same time too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think, and I honestly attribute pretty much all my success to that, like focusing on everything that I can control,
Yeah, I mean, I get anxious a lot about things I don't have control over, but it's just over time learning, okay, like what can I actually do right now?
Yeah.
You have control over what you put in your mouth, you have control over the hours of your day, and using those to the best of your ability, because, I think me and you, there's not a lot of people who don't waste a single minute of their day, and it's like, honestly, I don't know if I've ever met someone besides you and me who like don't really waste a single minute of their day. Because, I don't have like a schedule, but, if I look back at like a 24-hour day, I guess sometimes I find myself just yapping to ChatGPT. That's kind of a waste of time sometimes. But,
sure.
I feel like every minute of my day is productive. And
Yeah, I try and make the things that are like quote unquote unproductive to be at least somewhat productive too, like talking to ChatGPT, stuff like that. Like
at least you're learning.
You'll never find me like just scrolling on anything.
Yeah.
Like I just would never do that. And I think it was the last podcast that I had just quit social media, right? Like I'd stopped doing it.
I think last podcast you were starting it.
Was I?
Yeah, because the third podcast is the beginning of this school year. So you were doing it all summer.
I was doing it over the summer, right? So I had started it then. I think I was considering stopping around.
That was a few weeks after, I think. Cause
maybe.
I remember during the podcast you were talking really highly about it. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. So. Yeah, that's another thing that I've changed a lot. It's just like, and I hope to go back to it this summer, like when I'm competing, because I might as well take advantage of when I'm like looking great and I'm in great physical condition. Like I might as well post here and there, So, but for now, I just think it's somewhat a waste of time not for everyone, but for me, I just think I don't have the time to do it, and my mind can't handle it when I do it because I hyperfixate on stuff like that. So I don't know.
Do you want to talk me through the timeline of your evolution of your perspective on social media? Because, you know, if anyone were to watch these 4 podcasts, it'd be like up, down, up, down,
yeah,
up,
it's like
down.
every other podcast I legit changed my mind.
Because I remember the first one we were sitting in this room.
Yep.
We were both like, social media sucks, fuck social media, you're a weirdo if you're on social media.
Yep.
We were just demonizing it. And then during our second podcast in the hot tub, we were like, you know, we've grown a little bit, we're realizing the utility of it, but we both haven't dabbled in it yet. But like, you know, I was thinking to like how I can use it to improve like my social life in the next school year. You were thinking about posting on there. We're both in the Pod Tub podcast talking about it pretty positively. And the third podcast was like after we've been using it all summer and we're both thinking of it really positively. And I remember you had some problems where like, you know, you would tell yourself you're like scrolling on Instagram Reels just to kind of see like other people's posts to get ideas.
Get inspiration and stuff
and
like
you'd find yourself just addicted to it.
Yeah, in reality that's cope for I'm just like addicted to my phone pretty much.
At least you did come up with some pretty cool edits though. I guess it helped a little bit.
100%. No, I think it did pretty well for a while, and I had some success. Like I got millions of views doing it, but at the end of the day, I don't know, it kind of fried my mind a little bit too, so I don't think it was worth it. But I don't know. I think when you have more time, it's something that you can use to pass your time. But I don't think it's the best usage of your time ever. I think it's better for girls for the most part because it can keep you in more of like a social loop at least. I think about it from my girl's perspective because I remember we were talking about, I don't know if it was the first or second one, I was saying like, yeah, I want a girl who doesn't have any social media or something like that. Do you remember us talking about that? Cause
we did say that.
Because I feel like we've talked about that where I said,
I'm sure you've said it.
I don't want my girl to have social media. And like, I think it's important for girls to have it, but to be smart about how you use it. I think social connection is extremely important for girls, as it is for guys, but I think more so for girls. But the reason I've kind of changed my mind about it for myself is, like I said, I just think I can't really handle it. I get addicted to stuff pretty fast, and if I'm trying to be the best student I can be, I'm not going to be able to focus on it as much as I'd like to. So when times are a little bit easier, like say over the summer or something, I'll pick it back up, or you know, over a break, whatever it may be. But if I'm really trying to focus, I know social media is not good for me, and I have to keep it regulated. But yeah, from like a girl's perspective, I think it is extremely important just to like have the social connection and the social proof as a girl, because that's a lot more important for them. Would you say that's fair?
I agree with that. I think there's utility for guys and girls depending on the stage of life you're in.
Yeah.
Of course, if you're able to use it well, because I think anyone can get addicted to it. Like there's the girls who, you know, who use it. Like I've met a lot of girls who don't even use it that much, but still, you know, have their profile, their posts, and everything. And I think the benefit of that is that, you know, I think unfortunately, a lot of like a girl's life is like how you're perceived by other girls, you know. So I think you don't want to be a weirdo. You know, having a normal social media presence will like make you integrated into like that world. I think for guys, it's more about, you know, showcasing status and showcasing your life so that you're not like people don't think you're a creep, which, you know. Yeah. I guess some people can get away without that, but I think overall, I think my outcomes happen better when I have like proof of life. You have like a presence on there, you know. Just kind of, you know, it's if you have posts or tagged in, you have your friends in the post, it's immediately like okay, he's like socially integrated, he has a life, you know. It's like simple, especially when you're meeting someone for the first time, I think. But you know, there's guys who can get addicted to TikTok and scroll on it all day, and then there's girls who are also just like posting videos all day, and you know, like, I think anyone can get addicted to it, but I guess you really need to discern for yourself. Like I think a lot of guys can get away with not being on social media and still live great lives. So I don't know if I could say the same for girls or not, but it's. I personally don't care as much anymore because I'm not really addicted to it now, and I actually like it a lot.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah, for sure.
Because for me, like I've always enjoyed talking to people, but I always was only connected to 5 of them usually. You know, like I talked, like especially last year was like a great indicator of that, where it's like I was friends with all these people on the hill, and then summer comes around and there's 5 or 6 people I'm calling every week. Yep. Right, which is fine. You know, you only want to take a few people with you. Right. But I think it gave me such a nice way this semester just to see all these people who I'm not really in touch with, like what the hell they're doing. Like, oh shit, like that random guy Brandon, I haven't seen him in 2 months, but he's skiing in, you know, Nevada. Like it's cool to see what he's up to. Say hi every now and then. So for me personally, like I think everyone has a different level of how much they care about their social life. I personally love talking to people, so it gives me a great way to connect. And, and I think finally for the first time in my life I'm able to use it without overdoing it and getting addicted to it. So
I think I've kind of changed my tune on that a little bit too, because I remember it was maybe on our first podcast or we talked about it at some point. I was like, yeah, I really want to push myself to talk to more people, and now I've kind of completely shifted my tone. I'm like, okay, I'm really comfortable with the way I'm like, I'm a sociable guy. I can talk a lot, but I just embrace my introverted nature, and I'm not like actively fighting who I am anymore. Like I just embrace that. Yeah, I'm not much of a talker for the most part. Like, I'll talk to the people I'm close with, but I'm not gonna force myself to just like talk to a new person every day or whatever. Just
your desk is still going, right?
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, no, it's like I don't know. I just don't force myself to talk to people if I don't really want to, because maybe I rely on my girl a little bit too much for social connectedness, but like I don't know, having her has been great because we're very similar in a lot of ways, and so it's just nice to feel like you're truly understood by someone, like in that deep of a way, and I never really understood like being close friends with your partner, but like this relationship has really taught me how to do that a lot better. And I used to like hate on people who would say like, oh yeah, my partner's my best friend, and I'm not necessarily saying that my partner's my best friend, but like we're very good friends is what I'm saying. And like best friend versus partner are completely different things, but like I think it is important to be friends with your partner at the end of the day.
Can you tell me more about what that means?
So like just having similar interests, getting along, having personality types that blend well together, overall just like enjoying the time you spend together. I think those are super important things for a relationship, and I don't know, I think just really trying to work on being like just trying to foster an actual friendship with you and your partner, I think is a super important part of it, because like at the end of the day, for me at least, I spend a lot of time with her, and like I don't know, you eventually will end up having conflicts here and there, and if you don't have that friendship built up, I feel like it's more likely to dissolve if you don't have that initial like friendship built up. But I did want to ask you about your situation right now, because we haven't talked about it in a little bit. Like, how's everything been going in that manner? I don't know. Just dating. I don't know if you want to talk about it too much, but like.
I can talk about it broadly.
Yeah.
I think right now I'm probably in the best state I've ever been in. I think if I reflect on fall term, I'm really happy with how everything kind of went. And I'm kind of at square one right now overall, but I think in terms of meeting girls, that's always been like this biggest question, like what's the best way to meet girls? And I've always leaned into like just approaching girls, because I guess my stupid brain's like, how else do I find somebody instead of approaching them? And I think the problem with approaching is that it's so low percentage, and to a lot of people that's not a bad thing, because just shoot volume, like talk to 100 girls, like one will say yes. But I realized it wasn't as simple as that, where it's not like just because it's a low percentage, the more shots I shoot, the more higher chance I get one. I feel like honestly, maybe that's true to some extent, but for the most part, it's either 0 or 100 in terms of how approaching works. Like, either you do well, or you don't do it well. And I think from 4 years of my life, I just didn't know how to do it well. So my answer was always 0. But I think I had a switch recently where it's like, I think I'm really good at it now. So that's it's good. Like, it's very effortless for me. And, I don't know if you remember this conversation we had, but I remember, I was talking to this girl for like 2 weeks in the beginning of the school year in September. I remember after that ended, I was just like, my system mind came back. I'm like, okay, let's approach a girl every day. And I was forcing myself to approach a girl every day. And then I was just hitting a lot of rejections. And I was like on the phone with you as I was driving to the Nike store in Detroit. And I'm like, dude, like, what am I doing wrong? And you told me that, I have to stop trying as hard. And I think that's the mindset that transformed the second half of the fall semester and now, because it's really not the forefront of my mind anymore. Really, the forefront of my mind is, my goals, my life. Like, when I wake up in the morning, I'm thinking about, I want to do well in school, I want to do well in the gym, I want to do well in my businesses. And the shift was like I used to walk at the gym thinking about where's a girl to approach. And now it's like
no, dude, we've all done there. Yeah,
I walk at the gym now. It's like I'm here to fucking lift, you know.
Right.
And ironically, the number of girls I approach is pretty high, because I've noticed that when I'm seriously just not thinking about it, in the moment when like I get distracted, like I'll be doing my set, I'll look to the right and I'll see somebody, and she'll just like catch my attention. It's almost like, this might sound cringe, but it's like her presence approached my attention. Then almost it was like approaching her was so effortless, because like when it was the goal of my mind, like I'm walking into Mojo dining hall looking for a girl to approach, you feel like a fucking weirdo.
Oh, for sure.
You know, now it's like I feel like a normal guy that's just doing my thing, and it's like the second someone catches my attention, I just go up to her, and it's like pretty effortless, you know. And it happens. Great approaches happen less frequently, but you know, like I have a pretty damn good approach every few days or every week. You know, where it's like, you know, I'm really confident, really, you know, comfortable, calm, and able to make her feel comfortable, and able to like escalate to get to a number or Instagram or something like that, and even land dates off of that, like, and you know, despite that, it's still a pretty low percentage, you know, if in terms of like finding your partner or something like off of one approach. But I've been surprised that, like, you know, getting dates is not that hard off of it if you do it well. And you know, I had a really long talking stage off of it like last semester too. And you know, I'm just like, I'm in the mindset right now where I don't really care that much, because like, you know, I'm not saying I figured everything out, because there's a lot I haven't figured out in terms of an actual relationship and how that works. But I've kind of figured out, like, I don't have to obsess over it. I don't have to try that hard. It's kind of like, I guess it's kind of similar to how you were saying you don't have to fight against your introverted nature. You can just lean into who you are. I kind of feel like that's what I'm doing now, where it's like, I guess I built the skills up over so long that I'm finally allowed to kind of lean back. Like maybe you've tried so hard talking to guys that it's like you've built that skill. So now you can go back on autopilot knowing that like you have great friends. You know, you wouldn't have had any great friends if you didn't go through that stage.
100%.
And like you're comfortable talking to a guy in the gym if you needed to, but I think you're allowed to lean back into autopilot because you deserve it now. And I kind of feel the same way, where it's like I'm allowed to not stress over talking to girls, because you know, I don't have to in order to start conversations with girls. So I can kind of just do my thing, let things happen. And like I don't know what this semester has in store for me or what's going to happen, but I don't have goals around it. You know, I'm not structuring it anymore, and I'm just like, whatever happens, and ironically that's when the most happens. So
no, that's a really good point. And I found the same thing. Like when I first met my girl, I was not anticipating it at all, and neither was she at the time. In fact, we were both like, I'm not really in a dating mood right now, and so we were both like not really focused on it. And then it just like happened one day, and you know, things happen in a crazy way. Like I really just didn't anticipate getting in a relationship. I thought that I would be single all of junior year, and that was my plan going into it. And little did I know, 2 days into the semester, actually the semester hadn't even started yet. It was August 22nd, so like
the day before welcome week.
Yeah, legitimately like before school even started.
That was after we filmed our podcast. Yeah, because we both moved in pretty early.
Yeah, and I had made up my mind about dating, and I'm like, I just really want to focus on myself this year, and that was, I don't want to say that was a mistake of a mentality, because it led me to where I am now. And it led me to being so carefree that I actually met her and portrayed the best version of myself to her, at least. But I don't know. I think where I'm at now is definitely a lot different, because I don't know, just my mindset has shifted in terms of what I think in terms of dating. Like, it's drastically changed. A lot of the stuff is still the same, but I don't know, just like my views have shifted a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if you want to go into that too much.
But no, if you want to explore it, tell me. But
yeah, I mean, I'd have to give it a little bit more thought. But I think the main thing that I've learned is to embrace actual masculinity more instead of what I thought was masculinity. So what I mean by that is, like, if you are more masculine as a dude, and you will discover this if you haven't already, but like, if you're more masculine as a dude, you allow your more feminine girl to be more feminine around you, and she can embrace her natural energy more, assuming she's more feminine and you're more masculine, right? But I think in our dynamic, if I'm really calm, collected, stoic, steady, all those things, it allows her to be more emotional, and not in like a bad way, but to just like express more emotion, be more caring and loving, things like that. And I think beforehand I would interpret girls being emotional as just like not like a flaw, but I don't know, I didn't see it the same way as I do now. I think I see it as a really good thing that a girl is emotional, because it signals femininity and comfortable being a woman. And the same way, like, confidence and being steady and calm signals that like a man is comfortable being a man. I think that that's probably one of the better lessons that I've learned as of lately. I'm trying to think as well. Like, conflict management is also another really big thing. Like, no matter how close you are to your partner, you're going to have conflict, and it's honestly just how you handle it. I know it's like a very cliche thing to say, but conflict is going to arise. Like, I have a conflict with my girl, like, I don't want to say all the time, and if she's watching this, like, it's pretty frequently, but like not but we handle it well. And like, we didn't handle it as well in the beginning because we both were less mature in our relationship views and just like how we handle conflict in general. I want to give an example. Like, we had a big turning point in our relationship. It was like probably 2 weeks after we started dating, where we fought over something stupid, and we were both like yelling and swearing at each other and that sort of thing. And like, we laugh about that now because that is so like unlike us now. And the fact that I was also 21 years old at that time.
Are you 22 now?
I'm 21 right now as well.
Okay.
Like, I was the same age that I am now, but I had a completely different mindset on it. It's just crazy to me. I don't know. I'm excited to see where you go with it in terms of like your first relationship. I'm not like pressuring you to get into one or anything, but like, I'm super excited to see your level of personal growth that you'll go through, because I had already been through 2 or 3 relationships before, and I thought I learned a lot. And you just learn more and more as you find people that are more like you. Like, my girl now, we're so similar that we have conflict quite a bit because of how similar we are, I think. Because just our personality styles are more conflict driven. I don't know if that's like accurate, but
that makes sense.
Yeah, I think we're both very strong personalities and difficult people to deal with in a way, because we both have very high standards. We both expect a lot from each other and ourselves, and which I think a lot of people should. Like, if you're in something, you should expect a lot from your partner and yourself in a relationship. But I don't know, as I was saying, I'm super excited to see your level of personal growth through that, because I thought that I had grown a lot, and it's nothing like this relationship that I've grown, you know?
Yeah. And I think what's exciting is that, whatever happens this semester, whether I find myself in a relationship or I don't, I think regardless, I know I'm going to learn so much. Like, I know it's going to be such a great era.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely when I have one, it'll be a lot of interesting lessons. And I feel like I've kind of grown in my interpretation of masculinity too a little bit.
Yeah.
I guess just from time spent around girls and just like thinking about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I guess like I used to think a lot about you have to be the best to do well, but I guess I started to realize that a lot of people weren't the best and still had great girls. And I guess what I realized is that the most important things are like security in oneself, like not being insecure.
Yeah.
And I think what the success was able to do was that it made me more secure. Like, that doesn't mean that, you can be ugly and still get the girl if you're secure.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are secure, maybe, but I think looking better made me feel more secure in myself,
Yeah, naturally.
So when you look in the mirror, like, you're more secure when you look better,
For sure.
And I think that's where the success came in, where it's like, okay, like, I'm so much better in so many areas of life than I was a year ago. So that makes you feel better about yourself. But then it's as well, there's a little bit of insecurity in me too of all the things I haven't achieved yet. So it's really about balancing that. And I think for the most part, I'm pretty secure in like who I am.
Yep.
But it's like a cycle. I think having security, having direction, you know, and as you said, calm, collected core, like not it's not that you don't feel emotion, but you're not so deeply attached either, where it's like you don't sway,
Yep.
you know, you're steady, you know, and I think those three things are really, when I think of the word masculinity,
Yeah.
I think of someone who's secure, who has direction, and is steady, and not easily swayed, and I think those are the three traits that,
For sure.
you know,
Yeah. No, that's
makes sense in my head.
Have you been reading much recently or no? Yeah, me neither.
I actually have been
right?
reading non-self-help books, actually.
Okay.
Over breaks only, because when I get here, I get too busy. But
Like entertainment based or what?
So there's a book I'm reading called The Count of Monte Cristo, which is
yeah.
a classic. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure you know it, 1800s. And I'll talk to you about reading habit, then I'll talk to you about like the book in particular. But so when I'm here, I just can't get myself to read because I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm wasting time.
Yeah.
So I went to India for a week when I was had some family emergency. I think I told you about that, right? So that week is the first week I started reading again since like maybe midsummer, early in the year.
Yeah.
And this book was mentioned to me by two people on the same day, so I'm like, I'll probably read it. So I started reading the PDF of it, and I really liked it because it's a fiction book, and it's very different than books I've read recently.
Yep.
And I read it a lot in India. I got here, I stopped reading it, and then over Thanksgiving I started reading it again, and I stopped reading it, and then over December I got through a lot of it. So I'm 300 pages in, and the book is 1,200 pages long.
Yeah,
so.
I was about to say, is it pretty long?
Yeah, I have it in my backpack. It's like fat.
Yeah.
But I think that, you know, self-help books were good for a period of time. But I think as I'm like growing out of that system part of my brain, I'm realizing that for me at least I think I've read enough self-help books. I was getting to the point where I'm just like, you know, it's just too much.
Like it gives you a base, like we were talking about earlier. Like when you said, you know, you feel more comfortable talking to girls, or I feel more comfortable talking to guys because we've done it a lot. It's the same thing. Like you've read a lot, so you don't really need to do it as much. So.
Yeah, and I think for that reason, I want to read books that kind of open my mind. And, you know, like these books, sure, they're works of fiction, but as you see the human nature, you know, see the way people interact with each other, it almost opens your mind to a whole other world that you're not in right now. And I've actually learned lessons from those books just as much as I've learned lessons from self-help books.
Sure.
You know, like I've been able to translate aspects of the Count of Monte Cristo into my life, and I can actually describe that. But, you know, I don't know if you know much of the story plot. I don't want to spoil it for people.
Yeah, no,
but,
I do.
You know, there's so much in it about human nature, revenge, you know, adventure. And I think it really made me realize who I was because it unlocked a part of my childhood where I've always loved adventure. You know, when I was young, like the kinds of books I would read, the shows I would watch, there's always like some guy going on some expedition to find treasure, go on some crazy trip or do something, right? And I think the reason I find joy in everything I do, whether it's the gym or school or anything, is because I kind of mimic it to being a similar kind of adventure.
Yeah.
And, you know, in a way, like it's inspired me to also delve into different areas. And I think a lot of the inspiration for boxing, guitar, and all these different things I'm starting now also came from that desire to kind of, you know, lean into more like the childlike nature in us where, you know, sure, we have obligations and responsibilities, which is why we shove these things off, but I kind of think like, what would the childlike nature in me find fun? And it's like, fuck it, like playing the guitar a little bit, trying it out.
Yeah.
Sounds fun, and it was fun. You can actually, when I finally played like a tune that sounded kind of nice, it was like, damn, it's just fun. So it's like, I think there's a spirit in me that just likes adventure, exploring, trying new things, and you know, I think the book opened my mind in that way, and I think that's a big stage of this period of my life too. So.
Yeah. No, I'd honestly love to try guitar. I'm not gonna lie. That'd be kind of cool. My brother played for a while, and I was like, I've always been so fascinated by instruments and music, and I know we talk about music all the time, and I'm like, I realize I'm not very musically talented whatsoever. Like I've tried a few things here and there. I haven't really given a good effort, but I feel like that's another way that you can really develop your mind. Like when I have kids, I think I want them to do like sports, music, and then like take another language, because I think that those
language
things
is a big one.
I think those things really develop your mind in a way that a lot of other things don't. Like if you're just going through life normally. And I say that like, you know, I'm going to do that for my kids, but I'd like to do that more myself, because like I used to see learning another language as like such a chore, but I feel like it really helps your mind a lot, you know, like just translating words to different languages. And like it's super interesting because my girl, she speaks, I think, 3 languages fluently, and I think
What
she's
does she
trying. She's really good at Spanish, just from like learning it in school. She speaks Polish fluently because her parents and family are all Polish. She was born in Poland actually.
Yeah.
And
one of my good friends is from Poland too.
Yeah, and so English obviously too. But she's trying to do German. Oh,
it's a tough one.
And I don't know what else. I think maybe French. I don't know. But she's trying.
Dude, that's crazy.
I know.
French is tough, bro. I can speak a little bit.
Isn't that insane though?
Yeah.
Like 5.
Yeah.
Like yeah, and they're all very different languages. Like English is extremely different from Polish, which like a Slavic language, and then French and Spanish are a little more similar, but like, yeah, it's
Polish is so hard. My friend was showing me that there's different ways to say eat, like eats, he ate, like all those different ways to say eat. In Polish, there's I think 300 ways to say the word eat.
So that's crazy. I didn't know that.
There's like a funny graphic online where it's like America versus English versus Polish.
Yeah.
On the left side, there's 6 definitions of eat in like English, and then the other one is like you can't even read the text; it's so small and it's giant.
Crazy. I'll have to ask her about that.
Yeah, but yeah, that's cool. I think there's so much to learn in this world, man, and I think that's what I'm realizing now is like you actually can do it if you want to.
Yeah.
The world really is yours. You can really have anything you want. So.
Yeah, 100%. It's very cool.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, when I picked up the guitar and started playing it, I thought to myself, like, why the hell have I never tried this? It's so much more fun than I thought because, I first started trying to play About a Girl.
Oh, yeah.
And I got the chorus down, the verse down, because the verse is just 2 chords, so that was pretty easy. And it was as simple as 2 chords, but the fact that I could hear the sound was so satisfying.
Oh, yeah.
And then I switched to the intro of In My Life by the Beatles, where it's like da da da
Dude,
da
that's
da.
crazy. My brother, that's one of the first ones he learned.
Really?
Yeah.
And that was a fun one to play because it was a little bit tough, but like when you get the tune, there was like a bit of a pause in between, but I kind of got it. Where it's like da da da. Just it was so much fun to just like sit there and try to learn that for 3 hours, and then
sweet. Yeah.
I don't know if you listen to Fleetwood Mac, but
a little bit, yeah.
There's a song called Bleed to Love Her, and I actually got like the first like part of it down pretty well, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
So I don't have a guitar here, so I can't practice, but I'm trying to find one. I don't want to like start begging my friends. I feel like that'd be kind of But I'm trying to get my sister's guitar here when I'm gonna drive home for spring break, so I'm gonna take her acoustic whip back because she doesn't play that anymore. She's the electric now. So.
Yeah.
But we'll see, man.
Yeah. What are you doing for spring break? Because I know we talked about something a while ago, but now I'm going with my girl. So what are you doing?
Yeah, I don't have plans at the moment. There were 2 things I was thinking about. I don't know if you know Diego, but I think he's always doing something. So I think he might be going out like hiking or something out west. So I'm gonna talk to him and see if like I can probably join them if they're doing something. And then I remember you said like your girl and all her friends were going, right?
They were going to, but a lot of them canceled. So it's literally just gonna be us. We're gonna We're gonna go to Fort Lauderdale on the beach. We have like an Airbnb that we're doing. We already paid for the tickets and everything. So
that's great.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
So it's really either that or it's probably going back home. So
yeah,
I don't know yet, but we'll kind of see.
No, that's that's nice.
But yeah, man, I feel like going back to like the idea of like opening your mind. I feel like I've always found like ways to kind of get out of my world very attractive for some reason. Like, like whether that's reading a book and like entering someone's life, because I think that you get so stuck into one kind of rhythm worldview that.
That's kind of what self-help books do. They reinforce your own worldview, for sure. Yeah.
And you kind of get consumed into that. And even if you're not reading self-help books, but you're kind of just living your life is very like, your brain is self-enforcing loops too, and you live in your narrow alleyway. But reading about someone's life in the kind of mind of Christ, I was like, wow, he has a whole different life than me, and it's like, kind of opens your eyes that there's other like things that are so normal for you that are not normal for other people that kind of inspire you to live in different ways. And I think that's why I've been able to be so consistent with the podcast, is because this is like my once a week opportunity to just kind of literally just enter someone's world.
I feel like now it's kind of part of your identity too, so you just like do it a lot. That's how I feel about the gym. Like it's so much of who I am now that like I have to do it.
Mm-hmm. You wouldn't quit one day. That's kind of weird. Same with this. Like we're too far deep,
Right. Yeah.
But I'm sure all these names on the wall, like me and you are pretty similar, but a lot of these people, there's different avenues you can kind of explore, and it's even fun. Like when I went to Norway over break. I don't know if I told you.
Oh really?
Yeah, you're off Instagram now, so you can't see.
Yeah, no, you did not tell me that.
But I was in Norway, and like I had some crazy stories from the trip. Which if you have time, we can get into it. But
yeah, no, for sure.
One of the stories was we're driving 15 hours up north from the city Oslo to this other city called Boda to see the Northern Lights. And
oh man, that must have been cool.
We split the travel up across 4 different days.
Yeah.
So we first drove to Lillehammer, 3-hour drive, stayed there, explored the area. We drove to Trondheim, and then we drove to, Mo i Rana. And the story begins in Mo i Rana, because everything up till then was planned, normal.
Yeah.
But we arrived in Mo i Rana. My dad fell asleep. We were so jet lagged. He was sleeping at like 8 p.m. every day. My mom and sister, they were obviously up in their room doing whatever.
Yeah.
I was in the lobby of their little small budget hotel. It's a really small town, so there's like just local hotels, and I was probably working on, I think I was working on Rookie on my computer, and then I finished that, I'm quietly creeping into my room, and whenever I try to be quiet in my room, I always drop something, and I always wake my dad up, and so I think I dropped my water bottle or banged it against something, but anyways, I go in the bathroom, I take a shower, and when I start taking the shower, I hear this really weird sound. It almost sounded like a pipe was broken. So I was like, shit, it's an old hotel. I didn't think it was me, but there was some like weird sound, right? So I turned the faucet off when I finished showering, and I still kept hearing the sound.
Yeah.
So, and I exit the bathroom, and the sound is still playing. It's like a screeching sound. And the next morning, I realized it was fucking wind, bro.
Oh, man.
And, I wake up, I see my dad, like, concerned look on his face. He's on his computer doing something. He hasn't even, like, changed out of his pajamas yet. And I'm like, I'm just getting up normally. It's like 8:30 a.m. or something. Yeah. And he tells me, Shari, we can't go today. All the roads are closed. It was a giant snowstorm last night.
Oh, man.
And in Norway, there's, like, not that many highways. Like, this town, Mo i Rana, the only highway that cuts through it is the E6 highway. So it's like, you have one way in and one way out, So it's like the roads were closed. We were stuck here. We weren't sure how long we'd be stuck there for. Yeah. But we had a lot of free time that day, and no one really felt like doing anything. So I was kind of just exploring it on my own. I was kind of walking around town. I didn't really have much to do. And I ended up, like, I found this, like, coffee shop that I think was closed. So I was like, I asked the barista if I could just sit there and just work. And she's like, it's fine, because there's a closed for 2 hours. And she told me that apparently it turns from a coffee shop to a bar at nighttime. So I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna sit here and work till the bar starts, whatever, right? And I'm just working there, and she was the only one there, so I started talking to her. And like, what was interesting about talking to her, going back to what I was saying about exploring like different people's worldview, was like that town was very small, and it's like there's nothing going on over there. Yeah. And it's like she was born there, and she's 19 now, and she was there her whole fucking life. And to me, that was kind of crazy that it's like, in our world, we have, like, all these big things going on. And then, like, for some people, life is just as simple as, like, you're born here, you stay here for, like, the rest of your life. Right, and, like, to me, like, it was so crazy to think about. Because her whole perspective on the world is so different if you're just literally in this, like, one small town your whole life.
Yeah, I mean, you think about that, and then people in, like, the Middle East and, like, Japan, wherever else, North Korea, like, it's all so different. Like, in terms of everyone's experience, because, like, we're very fortunate to the point where we can pretty much travel anywhere, and then, like, we have that sense of, like, autonomy, and that we can do whatever we want, really. And it's nice having that freedom, but, like, I don't know. Yeah, that's a cool story.
Yeah, and, like, life is, I like life a lot. Like, I think the life we have here is
that's good, bro.
Pretty cool. Like, we're pretty blessed to be here in Michigan and everything, so we both have great lives over here, but I'm sure it's still stressful when you think about the future and, like, expectations. And don't get me wrong, like, I want to do well in life, but I think moments like that bring me a lot of peace and remove the stress, because, like, you realize that your problems are all in your head, and, like, you could just be, like, a simple person living somewhere and still be really happy, I think. And
or
it's
just choose to be happy now, Like, I think that's super important. Like, I talk about this with my mom all the time. She calls it, like, the I'll be happy when syndrome. It's, like, what a lot of people in America have for the most part. It's, like, I'll be happy when I graduate or when I get my PhD or whatever else. But, like, why not just be happy now? Like, I'm very happy now. I try and really focus on just, like, enjoying every day, enjoying what I do.
Do you think you're a pretty happy person?
For sure. That's good. No, I'm very happy now. And, I don't know. It's because I think I just try and set up my everyday life so it's enjoyable. And so I don't have to really live for the weekend or live for vacation. It's just like, I just love what I do. I work hard, I go to the gym, like, I eat healthy. Yeah. Like, I have a great relationship. My family's great, all that. So, and that's stuff that I've worked for, So, like, I don't know, the fact that I feel like I've kind of earned it in a way too, even at my age, like 21, like, because everybody can earn, like, good health for the most part, besides some rare conditions, but, like, if you're just an average person, you can get good health, you can get good relationships. Like, those things are within your control. And I think that those things have a greater influence on happiness than, like, actual individual achievement for most people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're healthy or if you're happy, like, you wouldn't trade success for health, for example, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if you're on your deathbed, you know, you're gonna wish you had more time. You're not gonna wish you worked harder. You know, you're gonna wish you had more time. I think, for the most part.
I think I've also recently like shifted in terms of how I think I define happiness.
Yeah.
And like what happiness is, so I can kind of explore that as well.
Uh-huh.
But I think, as a person, I don't know if it's genetically or based on your early experiences, but I think you can either categorize yourself as a happy person or an unhappy person, and that's just objectively who you are, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think some people have a lot of success and a lot of stuff, and they just can't be happy. Maybe it's genetic. Who the fuck knows, right? Some people just can't be happy, right? And you know, maybe it's not so binary, but maybe it's a spectrum. Like, maybe you fall this side of the spectrum, that side of the spectrum. But I think everyone's objectively has a certain degree to which they can feel happy, and that stays with them regardless of the achievement, right? Because I'm happy today, like I'm pretty happy today, so when I get the success, I'll be happy off of the success too, right? Because a lot of people say that, oh, success objectively makes you unhappy, which I just disagree with. Because like, if you're happy before the success, I think you're happy off of the success.
Yeah.
If you were unhappy before the success, you're probably unhappy after, right?
I think success just kind of amplifies it. In a way. Like, whatever you have, I think it just amplifies it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're a very happy person, it'll make you a little bit more happy. Or if you're like an unhappy person, it'll make you more unhappy because you may lean into things like, I don't know, consumerism, stuff like that. Just like, more degenerate activities if you're an unhappy person already.
And I also feel like you just objectively are someone who feels satisfied or unsatisfied.
Mm.
So it's like, even if you have the money, if you were just unhappy before, you probably wouldn't satisfy as much as you imagine, and then that's why your mom's point comes in, like the I'll be happy when syndrome, where it's like one just keeps going till like you're 100, and like what's the next one? But
sure.
I do think there are things that can change that. You know, that's like the baseline. Like, either you're happy or unhappy, and then that stays with you regardless of your success. But I think that someone who has the capacity to be happy is still impacted by three things, which is having a good degree of purpose, you know, nothing crazy, but like having something to do, having good relationships, and having good health, right? That's where your points come in. Because I would say, like, luckily I lean toward the happy side, where if I look back to when I was 5, 6, 13, 18, like, I've always been happy. Like, even 3 years ago when I was like failing so much in life, I was pretty happy, I think. About the same. But there was a period of my life where I wasn't happy, and it's kind of odd because like the theory I placed about you're either unhappy or happy, that kind of failed because
it's an outlier.
You know, the 1 year of my life after COVID, I was unhappy. But I think it's because I didn't have those three things. Like, I didn't have a sense of purpose, really. I didn't really know what I was doing with my time. I didn't have any relationships besides my family. But, you know, like in school, I didn't really have any friends, which I wasn't used to. And, like, my health wasn't great either. So, objectively, those things came together, and I was pretty unhappy for a year straight, right? Which is, there's never been a time in my life where I've been objectively unhappy, right? So it's like, I think since then, like the other 19, 18 years of my life, I've just been happy. Now, the thing with success is I think that along the way, I'm not saying you always feel the same, but your highs and lows kind of go like this, where it's like, if something really, really bad happens to me, then it's like, I feel unhappy for at most like 2-3 days. And then I'm back to my normal state. If something great happens to me, I feel really, really happy for at most 1 to 3 days, and I'm back here. So it's like, I think you're either objectively happy or unhappy. Obviously, those three things could change that, but you know, whatever success you achieve in life is a temporary high, but then you're back to your normal state, and any problem you face is a temporary low, and then like nothing's really ever impacted me for more than like 3 days. So
I personally don't really like volatility when it comes to emotion, because like I don't let my highs get me too high, and I don't let my lows get me too low either. I just try and stay somewhere in the middle, and that somewhere in the middle is pretty high already, you know. So like I won't, if something bad happens, I won't let it get me down, keep me down. Or if something good happens, I won't let it keep me up too much. Like, I try and just stay pretty level-headed and, like, you know, in a good state of I'm content for the most part. Like, I'm good where I'm at.
That's good. I do struggle with that a little bit because while I know we were talking about, like, part of being masculine is being steady and emotionally in control even if you feel emotions. But for me, when I feel my highs, I feel them like really high.
Yeah.
And when I feel my lows, I feel them really low. So emotionally, like I feel like, I don't know if I've always been that way, but like, if I think the only thing that really gets me like super super high is like when I have like a really good approach.
Yeah.
Like the high I feel is like really really high, right? But then like, oh, someone doesn't text me back for 6 hours, I'll feel super super low, and it's like, I've been working on improving that, but it's really hard to control that because
So you're saying a lot of that comes from like interactions with girls for the most part. You're saying like
probably because I think
highs and lows.
Honestly, I've noticed it the most there because like
Yeah.
I feel like other stuff is so predictable. Like the gym is so predictable, the podcast is so predictable. Even like startups, like even if you don't know if you're gonna succeed or not, it's still pretty predictable. Where like you put input, you get output, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think because of that, I don't feel as emotionally like extreme about outcomes in those areas because I know I've done it for so long now. I know what to do.
Yeah.
But I guess with girls, like I do feel those emotional highs and lows.
Yeah, it is really unpredictable. I always had trouble with that too. Just like when I would think about just the unpredictable nature of it, like it is scary, and that's why I did fear rejection for so long. And it's only when I like really stopped caring and focused solely on myself that like I stopped really caring about rejection as much. And that's when I met my girl, you know. So
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that like it's not like I care about rejection or anything like that. Like I don't think that's a problem, but it's more just that I feel emotionally high and low a lot, just randomly, and it's like my emotions swing a lot.
Well, I'd say that your feeling of negativity has something to do with the fear, maybe not fear, but like anticipation of rejection.
Maybe.
Like, nobody wants to be rejected, obviously, right? Like, it's just a natural human
That's true.
feeling to not want to be rejected. Like, you want to be accepted by the group of people you're in or whatever. So, like, that's just natural. So, I feel like it's normal to feel a little bit of fear of rejection. But, like I was saying, I think that, yeah, if you feel like your highs are very high and your lows are very low, I would just try and stay a little bit more in the middle, especially with girls, because that is what masculinity is, and that's the most important masculine endeavor, is leading the girl you're with, right? And if you notice that happens most of the time when you're with girls, like, you have to put more work in that regard, because that is the most important masculine endeavor, is leading women, and that's when it really matters, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you say, for example, you get upset if you don't get texted back after a few hours. Like, imagine how you're gonna feel if a girl like breaks up with you or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you still gotta be good, and you still gotta not let it like wreck your day or whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't destroy me for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the worst that's ever happened to me, it's like everything lasts like a couple of days. But the thing is, like, even if it lasts for an hour, the degree to which I feel it is extreme. I think I've noticed. But yeah, I think thinking back, I've felt it in other areas of my life too, but they've kind of, with time, just gone down.
Mm.
Like I feel like I tend to be an emotional decision maker too, sometimes, which I think there's good and bad to that, because like sometimes it leads me down great paths, when it's kind of like when you're in tune with your intuition. But I think just everything, there's not much you can really do about it. I think it's more just being aware of it and just letting time do its thing.
Yeah, I think emotional decision making somewhat is like spontaneity, which isn't like the worst thing ever. So if it's like true emotional decision making, I think that, I don't know, that can be negative in some ways, but I think being spontaneous in general isn't necessarily the worst characteristic in a man, at least.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Dude, I'm so brain dead from today, I'm not gonna lie.
From what?
I sat in so I did my fasted cardio. I got up at 7:30, right? And then I did 40 minutes of cardio.
You do that 7 days a week?
6. I don't do it Wednesdays because I start at 9 a.m. on Wednesday, so I just don't have enough time to do it unless I get up at like 5. But yeah, so I get up at 7:30, do my fasted cardio, I eat my meal, I do like my morning routine and stuff, and I'm out of the place by 10. I think that was an issue I had for a long time, was I wouldn't get out of my place until like 1 or 2, and then like my whole day's gone and I'm so brain dead and I've accomplished nothing. And like we were talking about earlier, like getting those early wins in the day are so important, but like it makes it so I'm super brain dead by like 7, 8 p.m. at night. Like, and I also worked for like 5 hours at CCCB today, and then I had class for an hour. So
in a weird way, I've noticed that when I'm tired, my podcasts are better because I just talk slower. But Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of on a weird schedule now too. Not weird, a better schedule because I've been kind of jet lagged. So I've been sleeping super early, like between like 9:30 and 10:30, and I've been getting up at like 7:30 to 8:30, or 6:30 to 8:30, or 6:30 to 7:30. Cause I get 9 hours of sleep, so if I sleep at 10:30, I get up at 7:30. So yeah, between like 6:30, 7:30, and I used to take a long time to get ready in the morning. It's like ever since we've been kind of on like the new stuff you've been putting me on like in the beginning of the year, and it would take me forever. Like after I shower and do all this shit and brush and all this shit in the morning. So what I started doing like 3 months ago was like putting a 20-minute timer on, and then like I just rush through it, and now I get ready in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do. I set a timer, or not a timer, but like I have a dedicated 30 minutes to do everything. That's like get dressed, do all the skincare nonsense, shower, like do my hair, and I think that if you have a set amount of time to do it for, you won't waste as much time. And I also did something more recently where I kind of like offset tasks to certain days. So for example, like I'll trim my beard Thursday and Sunday or whatever, so I don't have to think about, oh, I'm looking a little scruffy today, I'm gonna like shave or whatever. You know, it kind of like offsets that and takes away the decision fatigue, and that's like a common theme that I think I've been having recently, is just trying to get rid of decision fatigue as much as possible, so I can actually focus on school, because I have struggled a lot with that. So like, I don't know, the less decisions I have to make, the better, because my brain can focus more on the task at hand, I think.
I think that's good, yeah. Because before, I think in September, it would take me like 30 to 40 minutes to get ready in the morning, because like I would get distracted and like go on my phone and ask ChatGPT something in between if I had a random idea for something. Because like in the morning, I'm always like, I have all these ideas. So I'm like, I see the clock on my phone, but I'm not touching my phone for 20 minutes. So it's good now because like my goal is like I get out of bed and I want to be in my car in 20 minutes because like
that's good.
I just want to get started with my day. So I think this whole week has been good because I've been getting up early, and it's like I like to see the sunrise. It's like a good feeling. Each day is different. Like sometimes I go to the gym first thing in the morning. Usually I've been going to the library and getting like a big task done. So that's been feeling really good. I've been doing that every day this week.
For sure. What's that called? Like eating the frog or whatever? No, that's good. Frog. Where you do like the hardest thing first thing in the morning or whatever.
So that's been a good way to start my day, and then you just feel so much happier, man. Like I feel a great high of like I just finished some good shit. I don't eat until after that. So I go dining hall, I eat then, and then I usually go to the gym or just classes, and then Dude, it's been so bad. Like, I've had so much free time the last 2 days. So I've been going to the gym twice a day for the last 2 days. Not today, but literally, like, I remember Wednesday, I'm like, I went to the gym in the morning, and I'm like, shit, in the evening, like, I have nothing to do. I'm going to go to the gym again. Then yesterday, I went to the gym twice as well.
I pretty much do the same if you count cardio. But, it is fun. When you have a lot of free time, it is just good to go do that. But, like, do you do cardio or no?
I'm about to be starting to do a lot of cardio for boxing. Yeah.
I would start it soon, bro, so you're not, like, cooked.
I think it'll come back. Like, I've noticed that when I go back to, like, a practice for jiu-jitsu wrestling, like, it just comes back.
But, bro, you gotta run, like, laps and stuff. Like, you'll see. Like,
I think I'll be
call me after you do it. Do you know when it is?
Yeah, it's 20th.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's brutal.
Is it that bad?
It's so brutal. Yeah, people throw up, like, every time. Like, there are tons of people who throw up. Like, people have passed out. It's terrible. I ran it multiple times, too. Like, I was the one who led it.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. You're gonna walk me through some of the things I do?
Yeah, bro, it's insane. I think let me see if I can remember like everything that you do. So there's like a station where you practice like punches, and they just like try and scout you.
Is it outside?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're gonna be freezing, bro. It's terrible. But last year that I did it too, it was like -5 out when people were doing it. It was terrible. Hopefully it's not as bad for you. But anyways, you start. Well, they depending on which station you're at, they start doing like shadow boxing is what they call it. Do you know what that is? Yeah. So you start shadow boxing, and they just scout you for actual like boxing knowledge and see if you have footwork, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Do I need to have that to join, or?
No, you don't need it. But like it would help. Like it would definitely set you apart if you had a little bit of it. So like maybe watch a video or two on like, basic footwork, basic punches to throw, that sort of thing. And like I would say one thing they look for is like keeping your hands up the whole time. So like you want to stay in your guard the whole time. A lot of people will like drop their hands, and that takes a lot of shoulder strength. Like that's another thing that you focus on too during it, is like you'll do drills where you'll do hundreds of push-ups, hundreds of squats, tons of planks, like infinite planks, bro. Like you'll literally go for probably, I don't know, 10 minutes at a time.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and if you haven't done that, that's super hard to do.
Yeah.
And even when I was doing it, my best plank was probably 8.5 minutes.
8.5?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Which is good, but
I've done 4.5. That's the most I've ever done.
The most I ever did when I was little, I weighed a lot less. I was 13 minutes, I think.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it was nuts. I was super light though too, but yeah, the best I did during boxing was 8.5 minutes. But the conditioning you have to have for it is crazy. Like I could run 5 miles like it was nothing when I was boxing a lot, and I still gassed out in 2 rounds in my fight. So obviously it's like really hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to see how you feel about tryouts, because the time I did it, I did not expect it to be that hard.
Mm-hmm. I guess I still, like, in my head, I just can't imagine it, which is kind of weird.
No, you'll see, Rob. You'll see.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
And I could probably still go back and run it, because I know a lot of those people still, but, like, I don't know, I'm not really that interested in it right now.
Yeah. I'm in a different stage of your life. I mean,
yeah. No, I'm excited to see where you take it, though. And if you do it and if you spar, I think they count, like, I would wear probably, like, your Gymshark stuff. Actually, it's outside. Probably can't.
Sweatshirt, you think?
Yeah, but I was going to say, because one thing that stood out for me a lot is, like, I was in pretty good shape at the time, so I wore, like, a tank top, and I, like, immediately got on, because they're, like, always in shape, you know. And when it's winter, you can't really show that.
I'll throw my hoodie on, but, like, I feel like I'll be sweating so much I'll end up taking the hoodie off, you know?
Potentially, yeah.
Like,
yeah. That's what Max Angel did. You know he was unboxing?
Yeah.
Did he tell you that?
I saw him following the account, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he joined.
Oh, that's how you met him, right?
No, we knew each other in middle school.
Oh, really? Nice.
But we've just, like, we randomly come into contact with each other here and there. Like.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah, like, throughout high school, I'd see him, and we'd catch up. And then I saw him here, and we'd catch up, same thing. So it's, like, it's cool. I have a bunch of friends that I've known for a long time here that I'll just, like, randomly see, and I'm like, oh, it's, like, really cool.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, especially because, like, a lot of people that I know from, like, my middle school and high school, like, go here.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Do you know that many people here or no? Like, from your high school?
A decent amount.
Yeah.
I would say, like, 8 people in my grade.
Oh.
And then 2 freshmen. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I knew 2 a junior and a senior, but I don't see them anywhere. So. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, do you think I should train for the tryouts?
I would, like, try and differentiate yourself, because, like, you're not just gonna immediately make it on. Like,
no, I mean, like, should I prepare for the tryouts in the next few days?
I don't know if there's really any training you can do that's gonna make an actual difference.
Might as well go with it.
Because cardiovascular adaptation takes longer to get in, like, a few days, you know. So
what kind of
I would just advise you take a look at a little bit of boxing stuff, like learn, like, basic footwork and, like, how to throw a punch, that sort of thing, before you show up. Because, like, the last thing they want to do is teach you. Like, they're our age, right? Like, they do not want to teach you how to throw a punch, and they're looking to see kind of if you already know what you're doing, to some extent. Like, that definitely helps. You don't need to know what you're doing, but it definitely helps to get on the team.
Do you suggest not lifting the day before or something?
Oh, yeah, definitely don't lift. You're not going to be able to lift after it, too. You're going to be so sore. I, like, could not get out of bed after it. It was terrible.
It's great. I'm excited.
No, it's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah, dude. All right, man. What else have we missed on? Any topics that you want to cover today that we haven't? It was a good podcast we covered.
Yeah, I feel like it was pretty chill. Definitely shorter than our last one. It was like half our hot tub one, right?
Yeah.
But it's good. Like, I feel like we had less to talk about because we talked, like, pretty recently, right? Like, in August.
Yeah, I think so.
So, but I like doing it once a semester.
I think, there's enough changes in between.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I think this time not as much has changed as, like, other semesters. Like,
I don't think so.
Like, no.
What about, like, your relationship and everything? I feel like that's added.
Yeah, that's one thing that's definitely changed. But I think just mentality in general. Like, I think from the first to the second was a huge change because that was a bit longer. I think that was January,
it was pretty short.
January to like late April, maybe.
It was early April.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was about 3 months. I guess it's about similar, but
yeah,
I feel like
it's always like 3 months.
Yeah, I feel like for the first one, like I definitely changed the most, I'd say.
You think so? I think I changed the most in this period, these last 3 months, definitely.
That makes sense though, because that was the same time period for me, sophomore year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like between first and second semester sophomore year, like I think that was the biggest change that I made, and yours was in first semester. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think sophomore year you do learn a lot, because freshman year you're getting like acquainted with everything, how everything works, and you're like, now sophomore year you're more established with stuff, and I don't know. I feel old now, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
You feel old?
Being a junior, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you're almost out of here, man.
I know, it's crazy to think about. Like, and I really gotta lock in. It's insane, because I've done a lot, and I've done pretty well, but, like, I need to do a little bit better. I'm not gonna lie. Just, like, school-wise.
Yeah. Because your 20s go by fast, and it's
100%.
really such a great time of your life.
No, dude, I turned 20 and I'm like, okay, I really gotta focus on stuff.
Yeah, it's coming up for me, dude. I'm like, shit.
It's scary, man, because the 20s are such important years of your life. Like, I've been really focusing on just like being the absolute best that I can be, and like really being proactive about learning things that people learn when they're older, I think. Like how to be a good partner. Like, you never really learn that in school, right? And so that's arguably the most important decision you'll make, is who you marry, right? Or who you choose to be a partner with. And I think that is something that people should like teach more. I don't know necessarily in school, but like you should learn that somewhere, and a lot of people don't learn it ever. And so you know it's pretty clear why a lot of kids aren't raised in the best way, and people develop like unhealthy relationships and like don't know what foods to eat, how to exercise, like how to have a good mentality about like not letting things get you too down. I think it all stems from like parenting and just like actually having some foresight on what you want to, one, be as a person, and then two, teach your kids, because that's what almost every decision I make stems from, is like, is this something I want my kids to do? And if it's not, like, why am I doing it, you know? Because I want to be the type of person that would make me proud as a parent. I think that's a good way to live for the most part. But yeah, I want to know your opinion on like when parents give their kids like iPads and stuff, like when they're really young. Like, what do you think about that?
I think I would definitely not give it when they're really young.
How old would you have to be? I was just talking to my girl about this the other day. Like, what's the age that you would give them like a phone, for example?
I think if they're growing up in our current culture, probably, I would say between 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. I mean, depending on when it's normal, I think. Mm-hmm. See, I think it's really important for a child to be normal, you know? Like, parents who overprotect their kids, like, oh, you're not going to have a phone till you're, like, graduated high school, or really extreme, like, those kids don't have great outcomes. But also the parents who don't give a fuck completely and give the iPad to the 3-year-old, like, I mean, those parents are doing it so that they can, you know, the kids. It's
just out of laziness.
Yeah, it's like the kids are crying, so it's a good way to turn off the crying, right?
Right. Yeah.
Without much thought into the effects.
Just like putting a Band-Aid over it.
Like, I'm not saying I'm gonna be super lenient, super free, like, but I'm also not gonna be like super strict.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm gonna find the middle ground, and I think the answer is like, I want them to make the right decisions for themselves when I'm not there, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I can only do so much, and I think what I know I need to do from my perspective is embody the best version, embody who I want them to be in myself.
Yeah.
Explain them from very early on, like, this is what we do, and this is why we do what we do.
No, I agree with that.
But really, I don't think you can be super strict. Like, my parents were not super strict on me, and I think I've turned out great. And it's because, you know, it's important to fit in socially, and it's important to do certain normal social behaviors. Mm-hmm. You know, if there's certain things that we as a family don't do, like, let's say we don't drink, like, that's something, you know, that's different level of enforcement. But,
yeah.
You know, it's not like helicopter parenting. It's not like I want to force rules, but it's more like, this is who we are, this is what we do. Yeah. And I think that, you know, I don't think it's going to be as hard as we think.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think if you're aware of it,
in some ways,
if you're thinking about it early on, you know, if you've been, like, you know, reading about human nature from the age of 16, like, I think it's not going to be as bad as you think. Like, most people don't.
Yeah, because a lot of people never even think about it. They just have kids, you know, like. Yeah. It's just, I don't know.
I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, no, I think we'll both do a good job just because of the nature of who we are, you know. But it is interesting that you say that. I know we've talked about this before, but my parents, or at least my mom, was super strict on me, and I still turned out pretty well. But I think I definitely want to shift a little bit more in, like, the less strict in some ways and more strict in other ways. Like, I don't know, I just do want them to make me proud, and how I do that and how I set that up is I make myself proud first. And like we were talking about, you lead by example. and you be someone worth being, because then they see that in you and they're like, damn, dad's the man, like I want to be just like him. Or if it's a daughter, she's like, oh, I want to find a man who's just like my dad, and so you set a very high standard, so they feel like some pressure to live up to it in a way. And I think pressure isn't always the worst thing, as long as like you're comforting and supportive about it. If you're like, you'll never be as good as me or something like that, like obviously that's terrible and toxic, but like,
yeah,
I think leading by example is like a great way to start.
Yeah, and I think if you're naturally the parent who's like playing sports, active, healthy, like your kids will do that from early on. Yeah, 100%. So, and I think I think back to like bad habits and how to avoid bad habits, and because I had a lot of bad habits when I was earlier, and I think my parents did an amazing job raising me. I think they've flawlessly done it, but I did like play a lot of video games when I was younger, and my parents didn't like that, but like they didn't really know what to do about it, I think, in retrospect, because like they tried really hard to get me to stop, but they just weren't able to. And I think back, it's like if I just had other shit to do, I wouldn't be doing the bad habits, and they try to get me to play sports and stuff, but unfortunately, like they didn't. They're from India, like it's not a big culture over there,
right?
So it's like they themselves didn't play much sports. My dad is in the gym now, but he got into the gym a little bit later, like 10 years ago when I was like probably 8 or 9. So it's like when he got in the gym, I started getting the same things as well. But I think if you provide your child with the opportunity to signing up for, like, as you were saying, I want my child to play guitar, I want my child to do all this thing, or some kind of musical instrument or some kind of sport, and like, again, not forcing it. My parents tried to force it on me as well, but like, since they didn't do it, I wasn't able to embody it as well. But like, I think if you lead by example, if you have your child doing like a lot of stuff with their time and they enjoy it fully, because I think like maybe that's the attitude we live by as a family. Yeah. Because I think that's kind of how my family's attitude is, and that's why I've kind of bled into it as I've gotten older. But I think naturally, like, even if he plays video games every now and then, I'm not going to like tell him to switch it off. But I was like, he's not going to play as much if he has like boxing practice in 2 hours or like soccer practice, right? So I think even like when I notice other people who are not as involved in bad habits, it's not because they never do them, it's because they have literally other shit to do right now, and they can't afford to lose that. So
yeah, for sure.
I think just giving them more things to do with their time.
Yeah. No, it is crazy, bro, because I can see myself being a parent relatively soon. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, dude.
I'm not saying within like 2 years or anything, but like soon.
It's coming.
I'd like it to be earlier than a lot of people say, because a lot of people try and do it by like 30 now. I feel like that's too old. I feel like a lot of your energy's gone. I'd ideally like to be about 26, 27 when I have my first kid, I think.
I'm around the same area.
Because like you have the most energy to deal with them, to raise them. You can make them, just being less busy at work, like that allows you to have more time with them, and you can be more influential over them. So I think that, I would like to get married relatively early and then have kids early as well, just because like I want to get that part of my life like on track. Because think about like 100 years ago or longer than that, like people by my age would already have families. So there's like no reason that I should be waiting, besides like, okay, yeah, obviously I need money and stuff like that, but like as soon as I have enough money, I want to do it. Like I do value family a lot, and I want to, I really want to have kids, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm excited to have two.
Yeah.
But I feel like still it's early for me, but I can't, like, I kind of have a general idea of when I want to start a family, but I think the future for me is so unpredictable right now, where it's like, ideally I want to find my partner in college, but like I feel like I just have no control over it.
I feel like that is ideal, and you don't really have as much control over it. Like all you can do is just be the best, present the best version of yourself, and like attract energy that you put out into the world, I think. And I think you do a good job of all that, and it'll come.
And I remember you and I and John were talking about how impossible it really is, or like we were really talking about how after college it gets really hard to find girls, and to a degree I think that is true, but after thinking about it more, I think it's a bit exaggerated, where it's like objectively it's easier to find a girl in college than later, but it's like that would stress me out. I just don't see the point of stressing about it right now, because it's like I think even if the best version of myself is, it takes until 23, 24, like obviously I'm going to improve as much as I can now, but who knows like how long it takes. Like I think if I think about like everything on like, if I think about myself objectively on a piece of paper, like I've maxed out a lot of things except for one category that I think I'm like the slowest on, and that's just pure experience. So it's like even if I find a great girl now, it's like I still think I need a lot of experience before I really understand.
I agree.
So
yeah,
you know,
100%.
and because even if I get a quality girl tomorrow, it's like, do I even have the experience to?
It's like, do you know what to do with it?
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that's fine. Like I think I'll get a lot of experience this term, next year, senior year, and hopefully it's enough to find someone in college. But if not, like I'm seriously not stressed about it anymore, because even if the best version of myself was 24, 25, 26, I think the world is so big. You know, American culture is not the same. Like there's so many cultures around the world. There's so many places where I think even an older version of myself can attract like a quality girl of a different age, and you know, I think there's plenty of girls out there in the world where I'm not super stressed. Like I kind of believe in fate, and I kind of believe things will fall in place the way they're supposed to, whether it's this year, next year, 3 years from now, or 6 years from now. So it's like I can't put a number on it, but finally when I'm in like a relationship where I think this is like moving in the right direction, you know.
No, I believe in fate, but to a certain extent, like you still have to be doing everything that you're supposed to be doing. Like if you're just not acting the way that you should and you expect things to just fall in place, like I think that that's like delusional. But I know that you mean it from a different way. Like you're already saying that you're implying that you're doing the right thing. So I agree with you. Like I think that you will absolutely find the right person as long as you continue doing what you're doing. But like what ideally, like if you could set a number on it, when would you ideally want to get married and have kids by? Like if you had to answer.
I want to get married within, ideally if everything is perfect, within 1 to 3 years after I graduate from college.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
And
I feel the same way.
Yeah. Like, because obviously I want to date a girl for a couple of years before I can like solidify like this. I don't want to rush into it if I don't know the girl too well.
Yeah.
And I think you learn a lot if you've been dating her for a few years. If it's
that's very wise of you, actually, because like I think that's a very good mentality to have. Because my parents, for example, got engaged after 6 months of knowing each other, and look how that turned out, you know. And I feel like a lot of people, when you know who Alex Eubank is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was talking to my brother about this the other day. He met this girl 6 months ago, and he just proposed to her. And we were watching content on him, and she treats him like.
Wait, sorry, Alex Eubank did this?
Alex Eubank,
okay.
Yeah. So he proposed to his girl after 6 months, and I think she's older than him. She makes more money than him. Those things alone don't disqualify it, right? But I was watching the way that she like even just talks to him, and like, she's just like super disrespectful towards him. Like she says stuff like, she feels like she's the man in the relationship sometimes and stuff like that. And I just like cannot fathom my girl saying something like that to me.
Yeah,
especially like proposing to a girl like that for 6 months. Like that's crazy.
I mean, I guess everyone's different and all this shit, but
for sure. But all the signs are saying don't do it.
I personally would never do that, but
yeah, well, that's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, it is insane because you do kind of lose sight of things when you're in a relationship with someone, and you got to actively work against it because humans don't really like change. So if things are just going along, you're not going to be as likely to, I don't know, push back or set a boundary. And I think that's one of the biggest pieces of advice I could give you from someone in a relationship right now, and I've been in multiple before, is set boundaries early, be comfortable with who you are, know where you stand on certain things, and that will develop after you get in more relationships. Like, my boundaries now are different than they were in my first relationship, for example. I think that one thing that I go into it with now is, like, I don't want my girl to do any drugs or alcohol or anything. And I know that sounds extreme to a lot of people, but that's the life that I live, and I want someone to be like me, you know? If someone doesn't want someone like that, then that's totally fine, but I like what I like for reasons that I have, you know, whatever it may be. But anyways, important thing being said, like, just make sure you're very comfortable with being who you are and having your values and your boundaries, and don't let anyone tell you that they're too much or extreme or anything. You know, I think that if you're comfortable with who you are, your girl will also kind of fall into place in that way, and she'll become comfortable with your lifestyle as well. So, like, you got to have a lifestyle worth joining for her to want to join it, and then be completely comfortable and confident in it. And that's how I fostered the relationship that I have. Like, I was very into bodybuilding. I didn't drink. I didn't do any alcohol or drugs or anything. And I met this girl, and I told her, yeah, I don't drink. I don't want you to drink or anything. And she's like, okay, I don't drink already. Like, I don't do drugs. Like, I'm already into bodybuilding. And I'm like, damn, like, that's crazy. I didn't have to, like, lecture her on any of that. Like, she already knew it. And that's how, like, when you find someone like that, I think that everything just works so much more easy. And it's like, you don't have to force it when you find someone who you're actually aligned with and who, and when you're transparent with who you are from the beginning, when you set clear boundaries, like, this is who I am, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, you attract that person into your life who matches it. And then if for say, like, they don't match your lifestyle, or they don't fit your boundaries, or they're not accustomed to your lifestyle, then it's just an incompatibility, and you have to accept it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to understand that there are going to be more people, and as long as you keep improving yourself and having strict boundaries and strict expectations for yourself and those around you, that you're going to just attract someone into your life who's going to be worth having, is what I'm saying. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I completely agree. All right, I mean, for everyone has, like, a different standard for what they're looking for, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you have to just know for yourself what's important to you.
For sure.
Right?
Be comfortable being yourself, too.
Yeah. Because, like, I used to think that, like, finding a girl who kind of fit my picture of, like, what I wanted, like, I'm not super extreme either, but, like, there's like 2 or 3, like, non-negotiables for me as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, I used to feel like finding that kind of person was hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, that's why when I was, like, talking to someone for a while and it didn't work out, like, there's that fear that, like, okay, like, how long is it going to take to find another person like this? Yeah. But oddly, like, after that ended, I found so many people that were just like her. And I think what I realized is that, like, it's okay to set these boundaries, because I think that the world is pretty damn big.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, you start to recognize patterns, like, the people that you're looking for might be quiet and hiding, but there's, like, so many of them, in my opinion, like, I think that, obviously, it's, if you look around you, you're gonna all see all these people who don't fit that category. Like, a lot of people drink, a lot of people go out, but a lot of people don't. And they're just kind of in different realms and places. And for me, it's like, it's not like a rule, but, like, this attitude of, like, I start a conversation with a girl every day, just, like, whenever I feel like it.
Yeah.
That attitude has, like, changed so much for me, because you realize that, every few conversations you find someone that you actually kind of connect with. And it's like, hopefully one of those down the road leads to something, but maybe it doesn't, maybe it does, but,
No, I like the idea of attitudes, because it's, like, trying to make it more part of your identity instead of, like, seeing it as a foreign thing that you're, like, forcing. You're trying to make it more like, okay, this is who I am. Like, I approach girls, I'm confident, I'm a winner, those sort of things. Like, that self-belief, I think, is super important. I think that's kind of what you're addressing a little bit.
Yeah, because I guess the person who doesn't have the success, like, he's going to build rules because, like, he needs to use those rules to get the success. But the person who has the success just naturally does it.
And they already think of themselves as a success before they get that.
Yeah.
I remember, I think it was Conor McGregor who said this. I was watching a quote from him. He said, like, or maybe it was Mike Tyson, I don't know. Anyways, but one of them said, like, I was already the champ before I became the champ. And I'm like, dude, that's such a sick mentality, because, like, it's so true. Like, if you live like that and you truly think that you're the shit, like, in your mind, like, I think that that's great way to go about life, because then you're going to attract good things to you,
I think of Jensen Huang, too, who is the CEO CEO or founder of NVIDIA. It's, like, the biggest company in the world now. Yeah. And, he's, like, so successful now, and he still can't stop working, Yeah. Like, he's on vacation with his family. He gets up at 4 a.m. just so he can work. It's like, that's an attitude. That's not a rule. Right. It's like, objectively, you don't have to work anymore. Like, there's
that's
no,
just
like,
who you are.
There's no outcome out of it. But, that's why I thought, like, okay, like, a nice 2-hour cute work block for a startup is, like, nice. But it's like, the guy who's winning is, like, up all night till 3 a.m. His life is like a movie. And that's what I really distinguish between rules versus attitudes, where it's like, if you just want to win, you don't give a fuck about your 2-hour work block. You just fucking work, And I've tried to apply that to as many areas as I can. But at least for me, it's like, I've really liked how it's helped me. So.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I think my goals are a little bit different. And so, like, why I do think that systems for me work a little bit better, I think my goal specifically is just to be, like, a very simple person. Like, I talk to my mom about this all the time, is, like, I think simplicity is super important. Just, like, the idea that, okay, my house isn't very cluttered, like, I'm organized, I know what goes where, I don't have things in excess. I just like, I like what I like. I have simple things. I, do things certain ways. That was my mom's New Year's resolution, was to organize everything and like to simplify her life a lot and stuff like that. And I just like really took it to heart as well, because I think that if you're simple with your lifestyle, like you can't really go wrong for the most part. Like it's when you add in all these extra variables that things kind of go astray a little bit. I don't know. At least that's my perspective on it currently. Is I like to just be as simple as I can.
I've always like admired simplicity as well.
Yeah.
I think, but I think the current stage of my life is kind of the opposite of that.
Yeah.
You know, in a weird way, like.
No, it's interesting, and we're kind of diverging, but like we're still very similar people, I think, for the most part. But like, we're on different paths and that sort of thing, and it's like it's pretty cool.
Because I feel like if you asked me this last year, I'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah, simplicity, right? And it's like there's still a part of me that admires that, and maybe like one day I lean back into that fully. But I guess right now there's something in me that doesn't want to be simple. That just wants to be better, different, whatever, in like a positive, happy way. Because like there's some excitement, some adventure in it of like, being, having the most successful startup in the world is not simple, right? But it's like something inside me just wants it, right? And there's the little things like that that I think are attractive right now. But I think to some degree simplicity is better for like, long-term stability, mental health, things like that as well. Because I think as much as like chasing these things is fun, they're all kind of just like worldly pleasures in a way. And, simplicity allows you to kind of settle back in, take things slower. And, I think there's a time and place for everything. So maybe you talk to me a year from now and I'm back in a simple life.
Yeah,
at least right now.
When I was your age or even earlier, like I was trying to explore and do as many things as I could, but I think I naturally kind of reverted more into who I was earlier on, because then I wasn't really comfortable with who I was, and so I was trying to be someone who I actually wasn't. And now that I'm truly embracing who I am, okay, I am an introvert. I do like being simple. I like what I like, just embracing who I am. I think that it took me those years of exploration to know that like who I was originally is enough. I think that was a great distinction. And
I think you needed that stage to realize that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at right now. We're 2 years apart.
Yeah, and I'm just exploring. Like I recommend that you go explore as much as possible. Like just do as much as you can, because I remember that stage of my life too, where I was just trying a lot of things, and not like anything crazy, but just like more than I normally would. And I think that's a great growth period. Like when you try new things and you go out and make mistakes and take risks, you grow a lot. And then you're also gonna have periods where things are a little bit more stable, right? So like it's like a stable and then up, stable up. I think that's kind of how life goes sometimes. Cause like, cause think about it, like when you have kids or you get married, like it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be different. So you gotta embrace stability when you can have it, I think, for the most part, and cause life's crazy enough. Yeah.
I imagine like I could see myself as an adult with kids leaning back into simplicity.
Yeah.
I feel like it's probably a phase, but
I
guess we'll see, man.
No, I mean naturally, like you're not even 20 years old, bro. Like that's just how it goes.
A lot of time ahead of us, man.
100%.
Yeah, that's a good place to close.
Yeah, like just over 2 hours or whatever. It's great.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm excited for when we do this next. I guess, do we want to keep on the same schedule? Do you want to do it in April or?
I'm down to do it.
Next semester?
Yeah, once the semester is good for me. Or, we could do it.
Because then we need to go to the summer as well.
Yeah, we could do it like late April or whatever, like maybe you're
like
after
kind of like the summertime.
Yeah, something like that.
And then back in the beginning.
Yeah, no, I'm down. I love doing it.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. I was thinking about this the other day when I thought about coming on here. I'm like, I have next year and that's it. Like that's kind of crazy,
Yeah, man.
We got like a few more chances to do this. I mean, I'm sure we'll do it more. I hope to. Really
maybe not as frequently, but we'll make the time. We'll travel. We'll make it work.
Yep. So. No, I hope to.
Even if it's once a year, it's a good way to bookmark. You know.
That's actually some exploration that I'm planning on doing as grad school. I want to go somewhere in the south, hopefully.
That'd be sick.
Somewhere different.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be nice.
Change of pace, because you've been here your whole life in Michigan, so.
Yeah, I feel like that's really good, like moving out in your 20s, just going to a different city and just figuring
When you say
things out.
south, like Texas, Austin?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, Georgia, Louisiana, North Carolina, whatever, something like that. Wherever I know.
You'll love it, yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be great.
Because I think moving just changes so much. Like, even for me when I was in high school, when I went to boarding school 40 minutes down south. Like, sure, it was still in Jersey, but living in a whole different place just changed my whole perspective. And then that's kind of what inspired me to really want to go to college somewhere else. That's why I came all the way out to Michigan, and it's like, you learn so much about yourself when you...
Yeah, because you lived, like, in a, like, dorm type situation, didn't you?
For high school.
So you basically did, like, a pre-college before you got to college.
It felt just like college.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah. All right, bro. Well, I'm happy we did this, and I feel very good. It was a good episode.
I liked it a lot. It was definitely a lot more simpler, and saving a lot of core ideas, but, you know.
Yeah, which is on par for who I am right now. Just, like, simple, leaning back into who I am, that sort of thing. I think it was a good episode.
Let's get you to sign the poster.
Yeah.
This is 139?
Yeah, 139. I'm also glad that you're doing it just more for fun, because, like, it's, you know, you just get to lean back and enjoy it more, I think.
Yeah. I know, when I was trying to make money off it, I low-key hated it. Like, YouTube Shorts would always clip me in the worst ways. And then I decided, like, you know what, bro, like, let's turn the whole operation down. I just want to talk.
Yeah, just have fun with it. I think that's a good way to do it.
I have enough things in my life that are working towards the goals of, like, money and stuff. And it's like, I can get away with doing this for fun. So
I should do it like a different spot.
138. Gotta go chip now, man. Dino's closed.
Yeah, I went earlier.